What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord, link for that's in the description box down below.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. You know, the Cowboys chat recap / quick preview of our next game and everything in between. And hey, kind of playing the season out right now, it feels like at this point. We'll talk about this and more, all these things that you see on your screen and more in a moment here on My Cowboys Family. But welcome in, everybody. Again, this is our first stream of the week, technically, right? So,
yes.
Again, we're going to announce the new faces in new places, maybe.
The new representation.
Taking over. Yeah, so maybe who is rocking the top spot as our sponsor of the week?
You have to give the love, the appreciation to the man Jet Li 44.
Yeah, Jet Li in the house.
Much love. He's not just your sponsor of the week. He's also the membership gifting champion.
Ooh, man.
So huge
Yes.
shout out to Jet Li 44.
Jet Li had 16 gifted memberships last week. Outperforming everybody. John Luna was second right there behind him. So, man, the battle continues. As you can see, our board currently, Cat 52 is wearing that Cash App crown. He's the king of the Cash App, taking over from Pat Pfeiffer there, the Cash App queen, right? So Cat 52 is now the Cash App king. Much love to him. And Jet Li ain't done, baby. We forgot it. He took over the stream boss as well, even though he's in the danger zone there in 31 points.
You can't forget. You just have to see it for yourself.
Exactly. So you see over there, he was actually I remember he was at 12. He was at Roger Staubach, and he fought it back and got it back up there in the 30s. Now he's down at 31. Holding on there. So big shout outs to everybody. Jet Li has been running it this past week, so he's representing most of these boards. Now, do we have any leaders right now for this week? Cash App wise, no leader.
No, like we said, it's a brand new week.
Yeah, and also no gifting leader because this is the first stream, literally 2 minutes in. But we do have a leaderboard going on when it comes to the current representatives here and who's in the top spot. We have a two-way tie. Jet Li 44 is in first place, but he is tied for first place with Lincoln Kane LC. Yeah, so both of these star level members in first place. And Traveling Fools, by the way, in second place. Navy Blue Crew back in the house. So big shout outs to you three kicking off this week all the way on Thursday into Fan Friday, which we'll be doing some Fan Friday shout outs here tonight. So, we're going to talk about a couple more things before we get into the news, info, and updates for our Cowboys and this, kind of the fallout from this past week, the injuries and moves, trades during the week, and then looking forward to what's coming up with the Philly game. It wasn't a turkey. It's not Thanksgiving yet. That was hopefully an eagle cooked up. Hopefully we get beat the Eagles at least. That'd be at least okay, in a shitty season. So we'll talk about that and more. But first, baby, a lot of different ways to drop the love and help the channel here. Super chat. You see that little dollar sign at the bottom right of your chat. That's the one way of dropping the love here and helping the channel, getting on the leaderboard and all that good stuff. There's also the thanks button, which you can do on any video. You can also do the jump in the memberships. Like I just said here, LC, Jet Li, Traveling Fools. We got 4 different membership levels. And once you're in a membership, you can gift membership. So big shout outs there to anybody who drops the love on that side. That's through the YouTube side. Then we have I call it the After Dark side, which is really, the different ways people can drop the love on the After Dark channels, I'll say. You can see them in the chat there. And it's these 4 ways, baby.
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and of course, the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat. And that's actually how our current Cash App king took it over.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, through that Streamlabs. So big shout outs to Cat 52. Now, you can see here, there's a lot of, when you are the sponsor of the week, you are a weekly winner, and you get a bonus raffle entry into our monthly jersey raffle, which we'll be doing this week for the month of October. So big shout outs to everybody in the star level and over everything level. If you're in those memberships, Fan Friday, I'm sorry, not Fan Friday, but sometime this week or early next week, we will do this raffle. Everybody in the star level gets one membership, one raffle entry. Everybody in the over everything gets 2 raffle entries. But every weekly winner, it's just a bonus raffle entry. You don't have to even be in either level to get into that.
That's right.
So big shout out, for example, to Jet Li, who happens to be in the star level. And then, of course, gets another bonus raffle entry for being the
so
sponsor of the
stats.
week. He's adding his abilities to win things here. And what is the winning prize? Yeah, you see the monthly jersey raffle, sewn and stitched, authentic millions of different combinations, but a lot of different styles. Sizes, players to choose from, and we also have different
even sports.
Yeah, sports, different teams in football, but different sports of your choice. So, guys, a lot of great stuff for a winner. You could give it as a gift. Now the holidays coming up if you win one of these. So, hey, if you get into these into either membership level or be a weekly winner, all two of them, let's say, you're maximizing your chance to win a sewn and stitched jersey. And again, every month it could be the same person winning it, possibly, right? It's the luck of the raffle. So luck of the draw. So on that note, we're moving on here and say shout outs to a Fan Friday officially, I guess you can say, here in MCF, and do the shout outs, baby, when it comes to the top shelf memberships. But tonight we're gonna do the Fan Friday. We're not going live tomorrow, but Fan Friday silver level. Start off with that, baby.
Of course. Thank you very much to Mr. A. Lavelle, longest running member
52 months.
Woo. Thank you very much to Mr. Dwayne Broussard, Top Dog Big Bullies. Justin Quarles, the Q-Man. Thank you so much. And, of course, Calvin Richard. Shout out to you. When it comes to the star representation, you have Mr. John Luna.
Who has, multiple entries from his big domination of October.
The current guy leading things here, Jet Li 44.
Yeah.
Of course, LC. Yes. And thank you very much to the Over Everything
crew in the house, right? There's two
Bass
of them.
And Chill Pill,
yes.
the king and queen of the Over Everything.
Yes, the king and queen of the Over Everything crew. And by the way, also, don't forget, Chill Pill is also the dominator over there on the After Dark side of things.
That's right.
For 4 straight months. Yeah, we'll see if she does. She goes live for 5. We'll see what happens. So, anyways, as far as that, we're gonna kick it off here. We also want to shout out a little bit of for everybody who did the bullseye. I guess you could say here, the goal, right? You see at the top left of your chat.
That during our
our game
live
day
stream,
stuff. So we decided to have a little fun in the next hour and 15 minutes or so. To hit the goal, 10 super chats. I think it has to be $5 or higher. That's the level, right?
Yeah.
5 or higher. 10 of them in the span of this show. And a little surprise, a little special surprise, an extra special surprise, you can say, to those that helped contribute to that. So shout outs on that side, and those that made it happen last time. And maybe we get there today. We'll see what happens. But let's get rolling here before we get to news, info, and updates. Let's do them shout-outs of the people in the house.
Of course.
Talk Cowboy football, baby.
Extra shout-out to Dustin Roberts. What's up, Cowboy Nation? Much love. James Hurd is saying, play Lance. You know what you have in Rush. I mean, hey,
his ceiling has been
let
reached.
me know what you think when we talk about some of the comments that Jerry makes about possibly just that same scenario. Right? We'll have to see. Thank you, Meatball Ron. What's good with you? Again, we will see your team this Sunday. Quite the time for us to have a matchup there.
So is he? I forgot. He's a Philly fan. Meatball Ron's a Philly fan.
That's what he's saying. He said, "See y'all's team Sunday."
All right. Well,
so
you guys should thrash us.
Godless Manitoban. Shout out to you. Always watching, right? Freedom first. Always go Cowboys anywhere first. Good for you. So who's MCF? After Dark.
MCF After Dark, part 1 and 2 there, right?
Larry J, much love, saying Cowboys should make the season fun. Every week, a fan gets to play quarterback. I mean,
at this point, I wouldn't put it past Jerry.
Only if they have to run the 40 first, right? Because we're gonna need someone with a little bit of zip to run away from the hot mess that's coming to them. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
I also wanted to say one last thing, though. We also have the new emojis in the house.
That's
fuck
right,
Philly.
Said it. He's
you
dropping
see
them,
it.
his favorite.
Hell yeah, he's got the fuck Phillies.
It's so funny because that was the first one that I dropped too. Yes. That one definitely always catches my eye.
I love them all. Anything anti-Philly, at least even if the season sucks, it'd be nice to beat Philly.
Eagle turkey one is also chicken. Whatever you want to call it. The point is,
there's
also a bird.
There's a shit eater there. The Philadelphia filthy shit eaters. You got the fucking tears, tissues for the tears afterwards. So, or maybe just to wipe the cum off the faces of the Eagles. Either way, I don't care how you feel about them. Fuck Philly. That's what we say here.
Always.
Fuck the Eagles. Now, let's get into the NFL news.
Yeah.
Real quick, if you don't mind.
Let's do it, guys. And obviously, one of the reasons our stream was a bit delayed was with the current going-ons in the nation, right? Had to do our civic duty. So, just making sure, But with that said, we are fully locked in here with our Cowboy situation. So, let's go ahead.
We got a lot of them.
Jump into the Cowboy.
A lot of Cowboy situations. But
NFL
before the Cowboys, though, let's get a couple of quick notes of big importance, I guess you could say. First of all, the Saints, after they fired their head coach, Dennis Allen, after a very humbling loss to the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
Allen went 18 wins, 24 losses in a little over 2 seasons with New Orleans, and he failed to make the playoffs both years. His last win as the Saints head coach, you remember what his last win was? As a Saints head coach? It was against the Cowboys.
Oh, fuck. Of course it was.
And not only that, I mean, we got literally dragged at home against the Saints. Was that week 2? Was it not? If I'm not forgetting that, if I'm not mistaking myself here,
it was week 2.
I'm pretty sure. Bam, right there, week 2 was their last win, and they beat whoever they played week 1, and then they thrashed us 40-something to something. So again, last win was against the Cowboys. The Saints have played 7 games since then, and they're 2-7 now. I'm pretty sure the Saints have lost all 7 of those games. In spite of this, they only have 1 fewer overall win than us.
I was about to say, I'm like, we're like well on our way to look very similar to them.
Yeah, I mean,
what does that mean for McCarthy?
There. Yeah, you know what that means. The point is that again, Saints have lost all 7 games since the Cowboys win, and they still have only 1 loss less than us, even after spotting us 7 losses. So for them, anyways, trade deadline happened, and the Cowboys made a trade. We'll get into him a little later. First, let me go about NFL news, and just the biggest trade was the Broncos sent their edge rusher Baron Browning to the Cardinals. Arizona sending a 6th-round pick to Denver for Baron Browning, who has 9.5 career sacks. A pickup that helped. They have a good defense. He's a good defensive player, but the Broncos also ended up signing outside linebacker, pass rusher, you can say in some situations, Jonathan Cooper, to a 4-year contract extension worth up to $60 million with $33.1 million guaranteed. So that is the reason they were able to, they had no problem getting rid of Baron Browning, and it was available and traded to Arizona.
Yeah.
Now, one last thing here. The Ravens play tonight, by the way, and the Ravens snuck out a win, 35-34 over the Bengals, in a game that was 21-7 in the fourth quarter for the Bengals. And the Bengals blew that lead and went back and forth. It was a great fourth quarter, fun to watch, crazy game, crazy ending in a way, going for 2 for the win. I don't know. Either way, the Ravens, here's a little background move on what they're doing. They waived edge rusher Yannick Ngakoue, who's, a pretty good pass rusher. He was signed late into the offseason, but they let him go for the reason of wanting to re-sign him to their practice squad for now to try to make room for a couple of their players. They're willing to risk losing him through waivers. And if that does happen, obviously, the Cowboys go after someone like that with being kind of right now in a very pitiful pass rushing situation. But we may be getting someone back. So if we're getting this guy back, a certain somebody, Micah Parsons, do we still need to add somebody else like Ngakoue? That's not a trade now. That'd be plucking him off the practice squad. We've got to put him on our 53 though, and we got to cut someone. And don't worry, we got a lot of guys to cut in this team. But either way, I doubt the Cowboys would pay his contract, although not sure that happens when you get released and then picked up in the practice squad. Or released, you can sign for anything if you get picked up over waivers, and it could be off of cheap. So that could be music to the front office's ears. But yeah, we're not trading for him. He's just a guy we can pick off the practice squad of the Ravens, but they want to re-sign him. Not I say pick him off the practice squad. We can re-sign him as right now a free agent waiver guy, and if he clears waivers, he'll go back to Baltimore on their practice squad, which we could then pick him up from there. After saying all this, honestly, nothing's going to help our season. So if you want to get a veteran pass rusher that may be okay right now, Ngakoue is a name that's floating around out there. It's a realistic, cheap name for the Cowboys.
I think at this point we are beat up enough that we need to be open to considering anybody, but that just depends on how much the Cowboys even feel like investing this season.
I don't think the Cowboys should invest anything, but then they gave away a 4th-round pick. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Right.
But let me say this about that horrifying score below us there. That loss 27-21 to the Falcons last week. And it was a bigger blowout than that number, let's be honest. But the Cowboys now are 3-5 after 8 games after 9 weeks. and our bye's gone, right? So we're entering week 10 here against the Eagles. But we have the Cowboys have 3 or fewer wins through the first 8 games of a season. This is the 17th time it's happened in franchise history in like 60 plus years, 64 years. This is the 17th time we've only had 3 wins after 8 games. And out of these 17 times with 3 wins after 8 games, only once did we make the playoffs.
That's not surprising.
I know.
That's a tough hurdle to overcome.
Here's the other side of the coin. Out of those 17, right, one of them we made the playoffs. Out of those 16 left, 6 of those or fewer wins is what we pulled off in 12 of those 6 remaining games. So in 12 of those games, in 12 of those seasons, in 12 of those seasons of having 3 wins after 8 games, we ended up with 6 wins or less by the end of the season.
Okay.
So 12 out of 16 times that happened. So 4 times did we end up with more than 6 wins and didn't make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? We fell in between the 7, 8, 9 range, let's say. 7, 8 range. For instance, the year that I think we lost Zeke for the suspension, that's when it was used. We didn't make the playoffs. I don't know if we were 3 and whatever. We might have been 3 wins because we were up and down that year. But that's a year that we didn't make the playoffs, so we had like 7 or 8 wins. I think 8 wins that year. Didn't make the playoffs. So very rarely do we have like that average year. It's probably those 2 of them were probably through Garrett, in my opinion, because he's so average. But yeah, whenever we're 3 wins after 8 games, we usually get 6 wins or less, which puts us in the top 10 in draft. So I'm just being real. It sucks, but that's the facts of the case. Yeah, that's the facts of the situation. Now, Cowboys also have matched in 8 games their loss totals from the previous 3 years. Remember, we have 5 losses. Remember our record the last 3 seasons? 12-5, 12-5, and 12-5, right?
Yeah.
Unless we run the table, we ain't 12-5 this year. We're gonna be far from it. Obviously, without all these guys injured,
which matches up to our preseason prediction. But let's be real. 10-6, 10-7, seems very, very far away.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a full healthy team, and maybe go on a run, you can see that maybe happening. But then we don't have the players to do that. We have too many injured guys, and it would take a literal miracle for us to even smell the playoffs. Let's be honest now. So again, we're 3-5. That's the longest losing streak for McCarthy since the first year he was in Dallas with COVID. When we lost our offensive line, we lost Dak.
That was
broken
more
leg.
Injury related.
Yeah. We lost Travis Frederick. We had nowhere to play. I'm saying all those things happened, and we were 3-5 in that at this point in the season with McCarthy's. And it was COVID, and the season was gone as well that year. Only 3 NFC teams have worse records right now than the Cowboys.
Ouch.
Yeah, we're the 4th worst team in the NFC. The teams that are worse than us, they're all 2-7. They're 1 game back on us, and it's the Panthers, the Saints, and the Giants. And just saying, if we end up tying with the Saints, they win tiebreaker. We play Carolina, we play the Giants one more time, even though we beat them once. So this could be the fight for the bottom of the barrel.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm just being real. Currently the Cowboys have the 11th draft pick in this 2025 draft. So that tells me Cowboys, if we go towards that 5-6 win total at the end of this season, which is probably where it would be at best, we're gonna have a top 7 pick. Top 10 for sure.
Let's be real. I feel like I know we'll get to it in a moment. I feel like with the move that the Cowboys made this week and how they made it, it feels like they're accepting that they're going to have at base minimum like a top 15 pick.
Oh yeah,
That's
a top 10 pick. I think they already know it. Yeah, I think they know that.
So, it's hard to feel exactly confident about today.
Yeah. So look. Just finishing up here, some overall shitty news here. Just this season, the Cowboys have scored just 171 points. 171 points in these 8 games. It is the fewest amount of points that the Cowboys have had in the first 8 games of the season since 2018. Another Garrett failure year. Prior to that, and again, we made the playoffs that year because we got Amari in the mix, but prior to that, it was 2015. Which was, again, a completely lost year when Romo injured and we had Matt Castle and Kellen Moore and a whole slew of shit quarterbacks that just wasted the year by through there, right? So, again, 2015, 2018, and now. These are the lowest points scored throughout 8 games of the season. It's pitiful right now for us. This is all going towards a top 10 pick. This is all going towards a 6-win season at best. But again, why is this happening? And we're going to get into a deeper situation here. It is all about the injuries and the offseason moves. Jerry Jones had some comments about some feelings he had about some feelings about this loss. So maybe we got to take over take the mic over and let us know what
this
Jerry
is what Jerry said directly afterwards, saying, quote, "That room is full of guys that can get it done. I believe in them, coaches and all. I was proud of the way the guys competed out there. Really proud of them." I mean, really? That performance is what you were proud of, Jerry? I don't know. So, and huge shout out there.
Calvin Richard. I just saw a drop on my side. Calvin Richard in the house. Kicking off the first drop of the week with that 5 on it. Ooh. And also, you can see that goal board there.
That's right.
1 out of 10 off the rip here, guys. Kicking it off. So, what did the man have to say with that $5 holler?
He said we may end up having a top 5 pick.
Yeah. I was on a couple other channels earlier in the week, and I said top 5 is what may really happen. We might win one more game, and that's Carolina, ? Giants, ? Maybe. If we don't, we're going to be stuck with 3 wins. That's a top 3 pick. We go top 3 if we don't win another game. I mean, I'm just saying. Maybe the worst.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
At this point, I guess the question becomes, does McCarthy stay around that whole time? Who knows? But thank you so much, Calvin Richard. Appreciate you, of course.
Yes.
Much love.
Kicking it off here for the week. I'm, officially on the stream for the week. I'll add them to the board in a minute. Yeah. But I do want to just say one last thing. When you look at the fact that, the schedule we have, and the fact that, other teams, like, they're still playing for things. We are down to our literal, like, if we had our starters that were just playing badly, you can see them making a run here, a run there. But the fact that we're down to the bottom of the barrel already, even with some guys coming back, it seems like another lost season. And something with Jerry Jones would like to use that top pick, maybe a quarterback. I'm just saying. We'll see what happens. Just
hey, I don't disagree.
Yeah. So. Did he say anything else? I was saying anything else from Jerry Jones.
So obviously we know what actually happened, but before it happened, he was already talking about, the type of move he was going to make with the upcoming trade deadline. He said, don't look for those kinds of things as far as like a big Amari Cooper type of trade. He said, we do have a shot, we think, to improve our roster. And we saw what the result of that was.
Well, we'll discuss that. We haven't officially announced that, but we got a receiver, Jonathan Mingo, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Trust me.
Yeah, and one of the final kind of post-game commentary things that he said was about Mike McCarthy and his faith in him, saying, "I'm good with Mike. I know how hard he works. I like his football mind, and I know how good he works. He's got, in my mind, an outstanding coaching record. He's really good with the players, and they think highly of him. He's got a lot of fire in his belly."
I love the whole in my mind. In my mind.
Yeah, so
when he says in my mind, that's a problem.
I'm just giving you this. I like the positives I see. And by the way, frankly, some of the best coaches I've been around, I got to see them when times were bad. And, then he kind of goes on to say when, Jimmy Johnson only won 1 game in that first season, but then he went on to win Super Bowls. He said, I've had experience of having times where you're questioning and thinking about maybe doing it differently, but I've had good experience with staying with it.
Well,
for anybody doubting, wondering when McCarthy's getting fired, like I said, probably never. Well, maybe Thanksgiving at most.
If we get embarrassed on Thanksgiving, this will be a whole different tune from Jerry. Trust me on this. Jerry Jones will fire McCarthy the following day if we get blown out by the Giants.
I feel like we now have the quote-unquote Dak excuse, which unfortunately
well, they still can't beat us with that.
No, but he'll be able to hide behind that for at least this
another season. Yeah.
That's it. He just needs to make it to the end of his contract this year.
Listen, the thing is this. Listen, if you guys want McCarthy to be kicked out here sooner just to get a head start to next year, it doesn't matter if we lose the next 3 games. We get the Eagles, the Texans, and Commanders. Those are tough teams. We're a broken team. We're not going to be on national television necessarily, in a prime time kind of game. So Jerry Jones, he knows we're going to lose these games probably. And there's a high percentage of that. But then you get the Giants. It's like your homecoming game. You always pick the shittiest team, the shittiest school to come to your homecoming game because you want to kick their ass. And that's what we do with the Giants. The Giants suck. They're worse than us. But who knows by then if they're even better than us. And if we lose to them on a big stage, in front of even with the injuries, it might be enough to just pull the plug on McCarthy now. Just saying, it could be. Maybe he wants to give Zimmer a chance to run the show, or somebody else. Who knows? Al Harris a chance to run the show for a month and a half. I don't know. But it's almost too embarrassing at that point, even for Jerry Jones. It's almost more embarrassing if he continues to show out horribly on Monday night or on primetime games or Thursday night game, Thanksgiving. It's almost more embarrassing for him to show out horribly like that than just take the loss and just McCarthy going to make it to the end of the contract like you wanted to show everybody you could hang with. That's what Jerry's doing. He's doing the show save face. He don't want to find McCarthy to save face for himself, to say he did the right move.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. All right, I'll done ranting because Calvin Richard dropping the knowledge and dropping the love. Woo! Along with that knowledge, a $5 holler, breaking a tie with him and Traveling Fools. He goes right into third place by himself. What did the man say?
Someone tell me, why does Jerry keep looking for gold in a rock quarry? Well, because he keeps thinking he's gonna strike it rich one day, and
he thinks it's oil again.
The occasional flash of fool's gold that he sees, keeps making him think, oh man, if I just keep digging a little deeper.
He remembers the old days. More. He remembers the 89ers, the 89s,
yeah,
because
the
of
gold rush.
Yeah, because that was the gold rush for him because it was really bad, and all of a sudden he struck gold. But why? Is it because of Jerry Jones or Jimmy Johnson? So Jerry wants to strike gold. He's been searching for that gold ever since.
Let's be real. The fact that I even had the balls to compare Mike McCarthy to Jimmy Johnson, that's a little bit gross.
That's disgusting. That's an embarrassment. Sure. But I'll say something that's definitely not embarrassing. Two things. Calvin Richard in third place by himself, taking Jet Li to 21 points, by the way, on that Stream Boss. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking here. Oh, I was looking at something else. Oh, that's right. We got two hits on the bullseye right now for that goal of 10 for the night. So we'll see. Other people can jump in there and help out and keep bringing that up. See what happens. We'll see if we can hit that goal for this evening. Since we're doing these twice a week, yeah, that's fair enough, right? And we bust ass to get you all the info. So we truly appreciate your questions, your thoughts, the love, the support, all that. Whether it's memberships, whether it's here, whether it's gifting memberships.
Yeah. Chilling here, hanging in the chat.
Yes, making your comments, hitting that like, subscribing, sharing it, all that good stuff. So is that what was post game from Jerry?
Yeah, that was pretty much it from Jerry post game.
Thank
everything
goodness.
Else,
oh, that's just
he
bullshit.
said later on in the week. So
yeah, everything that those post game stuff. He got emotional after the game too. I don't know if you mentioned this part. I don't know if he mentioned about the 90s, right, and the horrible ways we played, but he's reminiscent about that.
Yeah.
And then looking at the fact and said, oh, Michael Irvin, he got in people's faces because even when we were 1-15, he still was like, you got to keep trying. And he saw that team win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. That's not this team, Jerry Jones. We're not in 1989, 90, 91, 92, and 93. And this is what Jerry Jones just doesn't fucking get. So
it's like time froze for him somewhere
in
like 1996, and things have just never really moved past that.
He got triggered to a standstill. Oh, my goodness. So, anyways, either way, we'll hear a little bit more from that old fucker in a minute. But first, let me just continue on. I don't know if there's anything else, but I think we're going right into this game, right? That's after the game. But let me just tell you a couple of things. We, of course, have a lot of injuries. Dak.
We do.
Out of this game. We'll go into him in a minute here. But CeeDee Lamb, of course, was banged up and should maybe have not gone back in this game, in my opinion. Brandon Cooks already out on offense at receiver. Micah Parsons on defense. DeMarcus Lawrence, Marshawn Nealon, Sam Williams, Deron Bland. All these guys are gone basically either before the game or during the game this past week against the Falcons.
I mean, hey, technically you can even include Zeke in that list for disciplinary reasons.
Yep. I mean, he's our starting running back according to Jerry Jones in the pay scale there on this team. Coaching is horrible. Offense, defense, and special teams. I'm just going to be real about it.
Yeah.
The team is not disciplined.
Too many blunders all across the board.
Yeah, but that's the coaching. Not enough discipline. Multiple penalties still happening for years and years. Play calling, McCarthy. The play calling is simple. It's predictable. It's a joke. It's almost reverted to Kellen Moore-ish.
Has not evolved.
Not at all. It evolved last year and then just regressed. No strong depth at any position for the Cowboys because we're down to our backups already. And so, of course, it's hard to find depth, especially when you didn't prepare properly Clown show.
Yeah,
that's Jerry and Steven Jones.
I remember during our live stream,
right?
a lot of people kept saying like, "Oh, bench this player, bench that
right,
player."
We can't.
We kept saying,
there's
like,
no one left.
That's it. Like we're down to that.
Yeah,
player.
injuries, all these things on top of the injuries, which mainly were there already. The injuries just added to all the stuff you can see now even clearer. The Jerry all in for the year. It's really the least in to maybe even get McCarthy out as fast as possible. To give McCarthy a reason to be fired. Obviously, it's not Jerry Jones' fault. It's McCarthy's fault. Is that was part of the plan for the Joneses? I'm not going to conspiracies, but I would not doubt it. He wanted to see who would last this season. And that's what he used this year for, it feels like. And waste players' careers and coaching careers because he just wants to look right instead of making moves now so we can get winning sooner, possibly, right? Right? Anyways. Point is, running out of time this year to do anything. This year's done, in my opinion. And there are a million things to point for reasons why the Cowboys are losing consistently. But I want to give you a quick little glimpse of why I think it's happening. Third quarters. Guys, we were up 10-3 in this game. What was it, 10-3 in this game? I think it was. 10-6, I don't know. Or 10-7, I don't know. The point is, and then they scored like 21 straight points in the third quarter. We scored shit. So there are a million things you can point out for the issues, and I just pointed them out. But when you look at the third quarters, the Cowboys are 28th in the NFL in third quarter scoring. We're way at the bottom of the barrel at putting up points coming out of the half. And then we're 32nd. We are literally the worst defense in the NFL in the third quarter. Points allowed. So when you come out of that third quarter, out of the half, this is some bad adjusting. At halftime adjustment, we talk about how important it is. Kellen Moore never did any. But why are we coming out in the third quarter with Mike McCarthy and Zimmer and whoever else is involved in this shit? And how are we coming out there in the third quarter and getting no offense? Usually because we usually get the ball first in the first half, and the team starts up and takes off the fucking the half of the first of that third quarter right off the bat. They took it away. They take 7 minutes off, and they score a touchdown. And because we had to get the ball first, because we had to show our offense kick a field goal or punt on that first drive, and that's usually where we end up for most of the game. So it's just frustrating. That third quarter, we come out with halftime adjustments. And we end up not able to put up points. We're 28th, and we can't stop anyone coming out. They make adjustments. We can't make adjustments to match theirs. We're 32nd on defense coming into the third quarter when it comes to allowed scoring points. This right here. You know what's crazy? And I'm going to put that fucking schedule up again. Look at this. If the Cowboys were just average, if we were 15th, 16th, 17th in the third quarter on offense and defense, this is both, we would be 6-2 right now. Third quarter. If we had a third quarter that we were instead of 28th, we were 18th, and instead of 32nd on defense, we were 20th, we'd probably be 5-3 or 6-2 right now. Isn't that something? That's the details that we're missing. That's the discipline we're missing from this fucking coaching staff. And coming out of the third quarter, how can you not be ready? How can you not be ready, or at least more ready than that? I'm sorry. And that's with the starters. That's all combined for the year. Mm-hmm. That's half the year with starters and half the year with fucking injured. I don't give a fuck. That's no excuse. This team is in shambles from the top down. Let's just be honest. Now, talk about fumbling, bumbling, stumbling around. McCarthy and the crew here and coaches. The most pre-snap penalties. The worst team are the Cleveland Browns. They are committing 3.33 pre-snap penalties per game. The Bears, 3.25 pre-snap penalties. The Dolphins, 3.12 pre-snap penalties. And then the last team with 3 or more pre-snap penalties per game are the Dallas Cowboys. We're the fourth worst in the league. Seattle Seahawks, really? 2.67. So yeah, no, I'm saying but this is what I'm saying. Pre-snap. McCarthy actually spoke about this, I think, this week. The pre-snap penalties are killing us. He keeps claiming. But whether or not it's killing us or not, the point is that we are averaging 3 penalties before even the snap, meaning false start. Meaning, illegal motion or something. I don't even know if that counts as one. But pre-snap penalties, this is delay a game. Mm-hmm. These are pre-snap. This is just players are not no accountability. but it starts at the top with Jerry Stevens, goes down to the Mike McCarthy, goes down to the players.
Yeah.
And that is this is why we showed
the
out
trickle
this bad.
down.
Yeah, the trickle down effect. Listen, the Falcons defense versus the Cowboys, their defense, they had 3 sacks on our quarterbacks. That is the most in a game all year. And I'm sorry, it's the most in a game all year, all season, and the most since week 1 for the Falcons. So then they had 2 sacks week 1. That was the most they had all year in a game. They had 3 against the Cowboys. Remember, we got Zach Martin there, Tyler Smith, Terrence Steele. I'm saying these are not the rookies. These are guys that which will rely on the offensive line. So not only did we allow 3 sacks, which is the most for the Falcons all year, but we also allowed 18 pressures against this Falcon defensive line. That's the most all year for the Falcons. They don't have a pass rush. They don't have a sack group there. But yet, we just let them tumble over us this game here. 18 pressures and 3 sacks. This is the best that the Falcons have done all year against any offensive line. Mm-hmm. Now, with the Cowboys starting 2 rookie offensive linemen, we have to have the veterans step up in a major way, right? We need the guards like Tyler Smith and Zach Martin to have great games. Now, have they been having great games? You talk about Zach Martin.
Yeah.
How bad he's been, right?
Unfortunately.
Tyler Smith was the lowest graded offensive player for the Cowboys yesterday. Not even offensive lineman. The lowest, not yesterday, but for the game night. Lowest offensive player. He had a 47.1 grade for Tyler Smith. And he actually had a couple great blocks, and then he was horrible. He had 3 bad games in a row for Tyler Smith. Not a good look.
Yeah.
But he's got to pick up the slack for Tyler Guyton. He's got to pick up the slack for Cooper Beebe. He's got rookies on both sides of him. He's got a tougher time than even Zach Martin. And then when you look at both of our all-pro guards, playing much worse. That's part of the reasons. We're playing much worse at the guard spot than last year.
How have we still, no offense, kept, who is it, Solari? Is that his name?
Soliari,
yeah. There we go.
Yeah, because...
How does he still have a job with our offensive line playing as shitty as it is, at rookie or otherwise?
Because the rookie is the excuse for this. And so here's the thing. Because last year we were great. Listen.
I'm hearing a lot of excuses.
Last year, Tyler Smith had a PFF grade of 74.4. This year, 69.0. That's a 5-point drop. That's a lot.
Yeah. And
then you look at Zach Martin. Last year, he was only at a 68.0. This year, dropped to 64.6. So he's dropped, 4.5 points or 3.5 points. So my point is, we got both of our guys. They're just playing good. They're playing average to good. As in Tyler Smith and Zach Martin. That is a recipe for disaster. And another reason the Cowboys are struggling. I'm just giving you guys a million fucking real factual reasons on why we're struggling this year, on top of the injuries, on top of the coaching and the bad management and the bad decision making by the front office. Now, shout out to Ceedee Lamb. He played through a lot of pain. He's only going to give a little heart in offense. The Cowboys receiving crew, here's the receiving stats against Atlanta. Ceedee Lamb had 12 targets. He had 8 catches, only 47 yards. He was basically stopped right away. Jake Ferguson, 10 targets, 7 catches, 71 yards. Jalen Tolbert, 6 targets, 3 catches, 19 yards, but a touchdown. Rico Dowdle, 6 targets, 5 catches, 32 yards. He was effective coming out the backfield and also scored a touchdown. Jalen Brooks had 5 targets, 2 catches, 26 yards. Kawante Turpin, 4 targets, 3 catches, 36 yards. Flournoy, number 80, the rookie, 2 targets, 1 catch for a first down, 13 yards. Hunter Lipke, the fullback, 2 targets, 2 catches, 4 yards. And C.J. Goodwin, hey, don't forget him. He had 1 target. Of course, it was incomplete. That was the fake punt. And our rush, how do we run against these Falcons? I mean, I'll say that, as I always say, Rico Dowdle playing well. He 12 carries, 75 yards, 6.3 yards per carry. But that was mainly at the end. Those are the garbage rushing yards. You also had Dak Prescott, 3 carries, 30 yards, 10 yards per carry, which could have contributed to some of the the hamstring issue before the hamstring issue. CeeDee Lamb had 2 runs, 15 yards, 7.5 yards per carry. Dalvin Cook only 2 carries. 8 yards, 4 yards per. Hunter Lipke, 1 carry, 5 yards, short of a first down. And Cooper Rush, 1 carry, 4 yards. That's our running right there. Just so you guys know, the runs of 10 yards or more, how many times have that happened for the Cowboys? Rico Dowdle has 8 runs of 10 yards or more. Do you know who's second? Not Zeke. CeeDee Lamb has 4. He has half of what he had. 4. And after that, it's Zeke, Turpin, and Dak with 1 each.
I was going to say, like, I know Dak had one of, like,
in this
the
last
top
game.
runs.
Yeah, but that's the only one he's had over 10 yards. Zeke's had 1 over 10 yards, and Turpin has 1 over 10 yards. Ceedee has 4, and then Rico Dowdle has 8. And that's it. That's how bad we are right now. I mean, beyond bad. We're 32nd in every category running the ball. And by the way, man, I wish Marco Seppian was here, man. We need him back in here because Luke Schoonmaker, second-round pick, had this. Listen to this, baby. He had the same number of he had the same number of penalties in this last game against the Falcons as offensive snaps. Remember that kickoff?
Yeah.
He was penalized for holding on the Cavante Turpin 48-yard kickoff return.
Yeah.
Which was called back. He only had 1 offensive snap. And then he also had 1 penalty on special teams. By the way, which is a real disaster. Baby, who did we pick earlier in that draft? Do you remember? Before Schoonmaker?
Wasn't it Cooper Beebe? No. Who was it?
Schoonmaker was last year.
Oh, so then, what, Mozzie? That's right, it was Mozzie, wasn't it?
Mozzie has a 27
I
point...
forgot about him.
Well, here's the reason why. Mozzie has a 27.4 PFF grade. Guys, disaster. That's on Will and I'll put that on Will McClay.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I'm a Will McClay fan.
This is like a Taco Charlton levels of bad. Actually, I think Taco might have been better. Maybe.
We'll see.
I don't know.
It's a big maybe. I don't know. But right now, Mozzie ain't cutting it. So when you look at the highest graded players in this past game against the Falcons, Osa had an 80.1. Osa had a great game because he had some nice run stops, basically. A little bit of pressure. Cavante Turpin, who's always having nice games, 79.5 grade. Edge, number 55, Carl Lawson, who I've been saying, keep an eye on him. Well, he had a 78.3. He had 2 sacks. One of those sacks caused a turnover. Couldn't get fucking points. Dak Prescott, even though with the horrible bad game he was having, or I would say a pretty bad game. He had worse, but then he got hurt. 77.3. He was our 4th highest rated PFF guy analytically. And Jordan Lewis, who, by the way, he's right there with I think he's second to Jalen Ramsey in the NFL right now as far as grade as a cornerback. That is great. Jordan Lewis was our 5th highest rated guy. So Jordan Lewis is doing outstanding this year for us, even with all the other shit going bad.
The problem is, like you said, you pointed out like the 2 or 3 small little blips of brightness on this team. The problem is, as you can see, they can't really carry the entire team. They can't do it all. And
when you have backups, they can't.
I know.
The backups are not going to.
We're still going to shout it out. We're still going to point it out. But it still just hurts a little bit to know that some of those efforts end up being in vain. And we can't make the most of it.
You know, when we talk about the offense, we talk about here is a mix of offense and defensive players. But look at defense real quick. Against the Falcons, the Cowboys generated, we only generated 13 pressures. They had 18 on us. We generated 13 pressures in a game for the second time all year. Week 1, I think we had week 1 we had 25 pressures. Just to give you an example, like. We had 13 pressures for the second time all year. We had 5 games of at least 13 pressures for the first 9 weeks of the season in 2023. I know. 13 pressures or more. We did it twice. Hey, yeah. But we done it 5 times at the same point last year. And again, we need our edge rusher back, and that's a little bit of good news coming around the corner. I will say from this game against the Falcons, and then we're done with this game, trust me. I'm going to actually take it off the screen during the stream. But if the Cowboys, you can see the good stuff. We talked about some good stuff. Jordan Lewis, right? Another good stuff here is DeMarvion Overshown. I love the future he's got with this team wearing that star, repping this star. I'm proud of Overshown playing well. I love the way Jordan Lewis is playing on defense right now. That's really all I can say there, right? But you can see DeMarvion Overshown is really finding his groove and hitting those holes and getting the explosion and beating runners to the spot. He had a little trouble with Lamar Jackson, but outside of that, he's been fan-fucking-tastic. So I love the trajectory of Overshown. But again, it's hard to see the diamonds in a lot of fucking ugly play in the rough right now. And this defense, baby, this defense as a whole. Oh my God, I'm even thinking about it makes me pissed what I'm about to say. But Mike fucking Zimmer will be gone. He'll be gone, by the end of the year. But Mike Zimmer said this about because we had a lot of missed tackles, guys. We had 15 missed tackles against another game with double digits, way into double digits. You can't win games like that.
At this point, I'm almost afraid to ask if that's somehow like our personal best this season.
Listen, Mike Zimmer said this about the missed tackles in Atlanta on Sunday. Quote, that was a lot of missed tackles. I think we had 15? It's mostly going at the ankles is why we're missing up tackles, and we're not wrapping up. Their running back, Bijan Robinson, is really good, but that's still no excuse for bad tackling, end quote. I could have told you that they're not wrapping up. I can tell you they're diving at ankles. And this is not football 101. It is easy to spot when you make. These are fundamental things that Pee Wee fucking players, that Pop Warner players, little kids, 8, 9, 10 years old that play tackle football, they know these things. They know how to tackle. They know how to wrap up. You don't go at the ankles. You go at the waist. What the fuck? What the fuck? I don't get it. I don't get, how we are still not figuring shit out and how to tackle. Forget about the scheme, which is confusing. Tackling! What the fuck? So, I don't know. To me, it can't be that these guys don't know how to tackle. I know a lot of these guys are young guys and backups, but it's got to be better coaching. We need better coaching. We need something. That's just unacceptable. Because when you look at this year, baby, our defense missed 98 tackles already. I'm sorry, 98 tackles. We missed the entire year last year. 98 total tackles. This year, through 8 games, we've missed 85 tackles already. We are 13. We're 1 game away from passing up our total last year missed tackles under Dan Quinn. So let's bring in some of Dan Quinn's, practice drills for tackling, because whatever Zimmer's doing, we're regressing to be beyond Pop Warner football. So,
and again,
it's embarrassing beyond words.
It seems like the goal is to try and, I guess, avoid penalties or whatever, but now we're just avoiding tackling. So
it's just Malik Hooker. He hits you with a shoulder, knocks you around, and then he just spins and then keeps running for another 10 fucking yards. You got to hit him hard and wrap your fucking arms. You can't sit there and go one-on-one against a guy and then dive at his feet and he just just jumps to the left. That's another broken tackle. Poor fundamentals that were taught, I'm sure, okay, to all these guys at a young level, at a young age. And how are we regressing? I don't fucking know, but it's bad. So, anyways, that's embarrassing. Now, let's switch it over to another embarrassing situation in this game. Baby, you remember that horrible situation. And again, I'm going to put this on all these guys, on Zimmer, but on McCarthy for saying to go for it. Yeah, we went for it on 4th and 3. We could just went for it. Normal, and had a better chance making it than having our punter throw into a cornerback safety, CJ Goodwin. So John Fossil said that he's the one that recommended the fake punt. And he said, I recommended it strongly to Mike McCarthy. He's trying to take the blow from McCarthy. He said that he's the one that recommended the fake punt very strongly to Mike McCarthy after McCarthy called for a punt. So we weren't even going to go for it. We were not going to go for it. The team seemed to want to go for it. McCarthy said punt. And Fossil, seeing that nobody else could do anything about it, said, well, let's just go for it then. Yeah. And he convinced McCarthy to go for it. But I would have wished McCarthy would have wanted. It
doesn't sound like they really had a plan.
No, it sounds like McCarthy just was going to bitch out and punt. 4th and 2 or 3, and we need to get this first down to get back in this thing and really maybe not get back in it, but take control of this game.
Where were you at on the field again?
The 43-yard line, almost midfield. I'm just saying, I know it's a chance, but you gotta try to, in my opinion, if you're gonna fake it, you might as well go for it. And agree. McCarthy is fumbling shit
the
up.
whole point is that he doesn't even trust his own offense, the offense that he's running.
Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons. You can say injuries, offensive line, whatever it is, but we still have Dak at this point. So the point is that after he said that, Fossil said he took full responsibility for that call, but he also said, quote, I don't regret it. He doesn't regret the call. He said, quote, just so I can clear the air, Coach McCarthy said punt. And I was on the headset, and I said, I like the 9 stop. So it was my recommendation, and I can own that recommendation and take all the blame for the inability to execute it properly. End quote. Any thoughts on that?
Again, at least he owns up to it, and I have to be honest, if McCarthy in the end was going to just punt, and that was our quote-unquote
fourth down
best
play,
option.
going for it.
That was then I guess I'm glad he did try to go for it because at least he fucking tried, even if that was a horrible effort. If that's the best McCarthy was going to give us, then what do we expect from poor coaching?
Down the line.
Exactly.
Down the line, in my opinion. No matter even if he took responsibility for it. So now, as we move, I don't think you have any coaches' comments or anything about the game anymore, right? I think you.
I do have Mike McCarthy with some
game?
of his like post game commentary.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, to
let's
be
hear what
honest,
he had to say
most
about
of it
this.
was exactly what you can expect from Mike McCarthy after the game, just saying we just have to keep the focus. I felt like we were really doing that coming into this game. We need to win a game. I know everyone wants to talk about long term, and we've got 5 losses. I clearly understand where that puts us as far as what it'll take. We've got to get winning. We're making too many self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
At this point, the thing about it is some were repeating, and the pre-snap penalties are totally unacceptable.
As I said, 3 per game. That's 4th worst in the NFL. We haven't fixed that in years.
Yeah, and this was, by the way, McCarthy's excuse as far as why we're running this shitty-ass offense. Because he said this as far as implementing a new offensive scheme when it comes to a new team. Quote, when you go to a different team, it's different. Different players. It's no different than when I came here. I kept an offensive system in place because of the quarterback, and that was a big decision. I don't know if I'd do that again, and I don't regret doing it. But I think we all put in that position. You look to make those decisions, and at the end of the day, you've got to do what's best for the players.
Well, we're going to see what happens now with
I think,
position.
Is that his way of saying that the offensive scheme is going to change now that Cooper Rush and Trey Lance are QBs?
That's what happened with Cooper Rush when Dak hurt his thumb, and we had to change the routine. We won because of the defense, but now we don't even have defense in there.
Final point I'll say here is McCarthy said he was really embarrassed by that moment in the game where he slammed down the tablet that went viral, saying, I'm embarrassed by it. It's something at my age there clearly is no excuse for. That's not what I represent. I'm embarrassed as the leader of this team, and that was definitely a moment I wish I had back.
There you go. I mean, that's going to be viral.
Shout out, by the way, to Ronaldo Rodriguez saying, how does a special team coach have more power than the head coach? It's insanity that he's done this in more games.
The thing is that when he calls for, let's try to do the fake now, whatever, it's still McCarthy's call.
Yeah, like
McCarthy made the decision. McCarthy said, no, but McCarthy can say no.
Yeah.
But it's not that he has more power than McCarthy. Fossil just recommends it strongly. And McCarthy was like, okay, let's do it. Without any, like you said, almost a plan. Yeah. Not even a thought about going for it on 4th rather than going for the fake. Like, that didn't enter his fat fucking head.
If McCarthy's option was pussy ball and Fossil's was at least let's try to go for it ball.
Well, at least we go for it, I guess.
At least we went for it.
I mean, now that we know that, it's almost might as well, it's better, for the better.
By the way, I just want to take a second here. We've never prayed on Dak's downfall.
What?
Not really sure where that
Anthony Roberts said, what are you talking about?
From.
Yeah, he's just making shit up. We're one of the few places that have been praising Dak and talking good things about Dak. But let's be real. Dak had a real fucking shitty season. I wanted to get better. Now we might not even see Dak the rest of the year. Let's talk about Dak, baby.
Let's do it.
Dak Prescott's hamstring injury, guys. Again, a lot of people were thinking he was walking off the field. You could see him limping. It wasn't really that. How bad is it?
Yeah.
Dak spoke about this after the game, if I recall correctly, right?
He did.
And he gave us his thoughts on the injury after the game.
So, not exactly encouraging to hear when he says something like, quote, I felt something I've never felt.
Oof.
I felt it when I was getting up from the run. I can't even say that I felt it running. Maybe it was the tackle or maybe something on the tackle, but I don't know. But when I was standing up from that, I felt something. I didn't think it was much. You get tired. It's a physical game. A lot of times you feel different things and then they kind of go away. When I got to the top of my drop to throw the ball to Jalen Brooks to the right side, I felt something I've never felt, and it was tough to walk on it at that point. So, now the thing is that, remember, this is what he said literally after the game. He's like, I'll say I'll be out there next week. I have to see, but I can say I've healed fast. I progress on injuries quick. I guess we'll see how bad it is. It'll take a lot for me to not be out there. I'll tell you that personally. So
now that's how that ended on the day after this Falcon loss. But then the next day, guys, we got reports. Dak Prescott's hamstring injury was worse than initially feared, and now we'll be missing multiple weeks at the very least. Multiple weeks, Dak is gone. So According to multiple reports, it is not a short-term injury, which makes officially, and we'll talk about this as well, Cooper Rush, the current starter. He's the Cowboys' backup. And as the week went on, we were not hearing good things surrounding Dak Prescott's hamstring injury. And I started hearing almost immediately injured reserve, IR, which means he's gone for 4 games if he gets put on there. So
it's like the kiss of death, honestly.
I mean, and then at that point, do you figure if he goes on IR, do you even figure that he even comes back this year? We'll be 3-12. I mean, what's the use at that point?
I know.
If we're 3-5 and then we're 3-9, or maybe he needs an extra week or two. We're 3-10 or 3-11. Why?
A lot of it depends on what happens these next 4 weeks and whether Dak is on a IR 4-week scenario, or is it looking longer than that too?
Well,
that's the point.
Look at the schedule. I mean, without question, when you look at this thing here, you're seeing the Eagles, the Texans in Dallas, right? 2 home games. On the road against Washington, tough game. Thanksgiving in front of the world against the Giants. The Bengals looking good, even if they lost. Even they're 4-5. Even those 4 out of the next 5 games are at home. 2 of them are really tough. One of them we could win. And the other one's going to be tough against the Bengals. They're getting tougher every day. And then on the road against Washington, the NFC East leader. Panthers just got to win against the Saints. Forced the firing of that coach. And the Buccaneers, above, average, right now? 4-5, whatever they are. But they play hard. Eagles, Washington. We could lose every fucking game here. I'm just saying. So do we need Dak Prescott back? For what? I mean, if he can come back and play, then it's fine.
What exactly are we asking for back, right?
Yeah. So, look. So then we hear more about this injury. And I know you have something from Stephen Jones, but listen to this. Here's what Jane Slater reported about Dak's actual, he has a hamstring injury. What does that mean? And why is it more serious? Here's the deal, guys. And it hasn't been determined yet. You'll hear, McCarthy today said, no determination has been made on Dak's IR status. So that stayed the same. They're still doing tests and figuring things out. But and again, if they miss this week, let's say they put him on IR next week, now he's going to miss basically 5 games at least, right? That's even less of I think the Cowboys will push this out to next week on purpose. So that he comes back, now we're going to be 3-10. It's like an easy excuse to not, or 4-9, easy excuse for the Cowboys not to rush Dak back or even put him back. So when you look at this, guys, the initial diagnosis per Jane Slater, it's called a partial avulsion of his hamstring tendon, which is now, quote, partially torn off the bone, end quote. According to Jane Slater, said it takes more than a 4-week recovery for something like this in a typical situation. And in some cases, they let it scar over, they let it repair, and then they let it strengthen. So it's more than a 4-week injury, and it might be even, not a 5-week, more like maybe an 8-week injury in some cases in that sense, a 2-month situation. With that being said, that's why Dak currently is seeking other options, and that's why the Cowboys have a reluctance to place him on injured reserve right now, or even make any determinations about a timeline for when he could return.
Okay.
That's what Jane Slater is saying. So right now, if they decide to do, again, if it's partially torn off the bone, no matter what happens, he's missing more than 4 weeks. No matter what happens, he's IR. All right? That's 4, 5, 6 weeks he might be out. And if they let it scar over, it might be 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. Guys, this to me, if I'm a fucking owner of a team, and this is a $60 million quarterback, and we got it, we have him another 2 years, I think, 1 or 2 more years on the contract, and we could kind of get out of that contract. But the point is, if you got to play it, rest him for next motherfucking year.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Don't even bother.
Do we want to win games? We'll probably have a better chance to win some games with Dak, and instead of being 3 or 4 wins, we might have 6 or 7 wins. Do we want to have the 15th pick or the 5th pick? I'm not trying to say we lose. Let's just play it out, and let's see if we win with Cooper Rush and other guys. Then I always say, and I'm going to go into this a little more. Trey Lance, use him as a selling piece. Yeah. Let's see what he can do / trade in the future.
Right.
I'm just saying, let's go. What are we fucking around here? This season is a done deal. So again, as I look at this from this perspective, What did Stephen Jones say about Dak's injury, baby? Because I don't. This was my.
He did.
Jay Slater spoke last night, but Stephen Jones said today I'm speaking.
Yeah.
So what did Stephen Jones say about his injury?
And Jerry actually said it even earlier.
Oh yeah, Jerry Jones spoke.
Stephen did this week, because Stephen confirmed earlier today, saying that more than likely he, as in Dak Prescott, will be on injury reserve by the end of the week. We're just making sure we're checking all the options. With his situation, it's probably going to be one that's going to take a full 4 weeks before he could even think about making a return, if not longer. At some point, the injury could require surgery, but no one is recommending it now.
So, is that it from that part of things?
And like I said, Jerry actually said about 2 days ago that it's very likely Dak ends up getting moved to IR.
So, my point is, this report from Jay Slater about a partially torn hamstring tendon tearing off the bone, that, and again, you hear Jerry Jones saying it 2 days ago. Today, you hear Stephen Jones saying it. It's injury reserve, but Dak's the only one fighting it off right now. And you know what? Fight it off, Dak. That's fine with me, because that's another week you miss, which means not a good thing. I don't want him to miss, but I just want the Cowboys to just rest him for next year. No reason to rush him back to what? Win an extra game or two? I mean, it's just not worth it. And if you're missing offensive linemen, why would you risk Dak Prescott? Let these rookies get some practice with Cooper Rush taking some hits. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, it's stupid. Even if you hate Dak, it's stupid because it's $60 million sitting right there for the next 2 years, basically. Now, you hear all the breakdowns there. We know right now it was announced basically Cooper Rush. And I'll talk more about it, but Cooper Rush is going to be named the starter this week. Has been named the starter this week in place of Dak Prescott, not Trey Lance. And Cooper Rush with the Cowboys is 5-1 as a starter. As you know, I would say with McCarthy's ability that year is what saved his job. After Dak was out with thumb, McCarthy kept the team on the right track because of the change of offense and the defense ability to create short fields, turnovers, and really carry the team, with Cooper Rush averaging like 8 points a game for us. So, again, according to McCarthy, he and the Cowboys organization have great confidence in Cooper Rush. Quote, Cooper Rush is a respected backup of a backup quarterback that I've ever seen and been around since Rich Gannon. Cooper Rush carries that type of credibility. He's a great teammate. He's someone that you can see that the young guys lean on. He's wicked smart, instinctive. He does a great job when he runs the scout team. He does everything the right way. Excellent pro. There will be plenty of confidence in him. So we're going to start off replacing Dak with Cooper Rush, and a lot of confidence from McCarthy being able to do his stuff. Now, to me,
it makes sense. Of course, he's the veteran guy. You know, we saw it throughout training camp. Him and Trey Lance have the chance to battle it out, and Cooper Rush won that job.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, the other thing to me is let's try to get. I want to see Trey Lance, because
I don't disagree.
Cooper Rush, we know his ceiling. Cooper Rush, I know he's the vet and he's a pro and he deserves to go and take over and try to win a couple games, whatever it may be. But without the defense, he ain't going to win much. And that 5-1 is going to probably be 5-3, 5-4. When at a certain point, he will be benched, or there will be a combination of Trey Lance and Cooper Rush action in the game. Like if you see this game against the freaking Eagles and it's 30-3 at halftime, don't be surprised if Cooper Rush is benched or relieved of his duties for Trey Lance to take over the rest of the game. So when it comes to Trey Lance, why not? Here's the thing. McCarthy, you said it, baby. McCarthy says he's going to change it up. So we know he's going to change it up for Cooper Rush, making very simple We're going to run a lot now. We're going to run a lot more now. We're going to have 12 personnel, 13 personnel. We're going to throw quick slants. That's what we're going to do with Cooper Rush. And everybody knows it. So it's going to be very simple. It's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs. So to me, why not throw in there, even now, even this game, some Trey Lanceage? And what I mean by that is let's work him into this offense. And maybe by Thanksgiving he's starting. I don't know, but my point is, Trey Lance, there's nothing to lose here. We know the ceiling of Cooper Rush. Insert the zone read, the RPOs, an RPO-based offense. I hate it with Dak because it was very predictable after a certain point, but I don't mind it with Trey Lance. Use Trey Lance in an RPO zone read offense. Trey Lance as I would say make him your main piece, but if you're gonna use Cooper Rush, get a little Trey Lance and RPOs. Yeah. And you can run him or the running back, whoever the fuck it is. Cooper Rush is a good backup. to keep things kind of afloat and hanging in there. But I think the Cowboys, more importantly than keeping things afloat, we need to maximize Trey Lance's value. That's thinking ahead. That's thinking smart. I don't know if this team has that ability, but I do. And I'm saying, in my opinion, put Trey Lance out there, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, and maybe very ugly. At least we know what he's worth, his value out there. And maybe if he looks at least good in the McCarthy offensive scheme that he can mold for Trey Lance, which did not look good in the preseason. If he could do a run option kind of quick throws for Trey Lance, then somebody will be interested in him to trade. Maybe get a fourth rounder back because we just lost one. So, anyways, the point is this: maximize Trey Lance's possibilities. And I would say use some packages with both quarterbacks. Why not have Cooper Rush and Trey Lance next to him? I'm not saying as a running back, but you don't know who's going to get the ball. You can switch the quarterbacks in and out. I don't know. Fuck it. Why not? We used to carry 2 kickers on game day. I mean, what's the big deal of having 2 quarterbacks
Good point.
flipping up on the field? Look, just give Trey. My point is give Trey Lance a chance with playing time. All right. I know that Cooper Rush by McCarthy already been assigned the backup role, but I want to see Trey Lance get some shots, some opportunities. Not because I think he's better than Dak. He's not. Not that I think he's that good. He's not. But just we get some good out of him. Some team may want to take a chance and trade for him. That's all I'm saying. Not for our future, for somebody else's future, so to speak. Baby,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other comments about this, right? When it comes to the Dak Prescott situation.
There was one quick comment I did want to mention because
Okay.
McCarthy did say that Dak, even with his injury, that he's still quote unquote going through the process. He was at the start today.
Okay.
McCarthy said, "I know he wants to keep playing, but it's obviously a serious injury."
Yeah, so
just wanted to throw that in there.
It's Cooper Rush right now. Will it be Trey Lance sooner or later? We'll see. But Dak is going to be gone for 3-4 weeks at least. But we know with a torn off the bone tendon on the hamstring, that's a over 4-week injury. That's IR, and by the time he's able to come back fully healed, we'll be 4 and 11.
Exactly.
It's time to pretty much get in our heads. Dak should not be playing the rest of the season, and that's what I think. Now, what about the other injury, baby? Ceedee Lamb. Ceedee Lamb, he got banged up in this game.
Did.
Shoulder, they kept him in the game. I didn't like it, but Ceedee Lamb injury update. Ceedee Lamb has a sprained AC joint in his shoulder, which, baby, I think if I recall correctly, that's exactly what I said live on stream.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I said that's an AC joint in his shoulder. He's not expected to miss any games, though, because of the injury. That was the initial word. He had an MRI on his shoulder. It came back more positive than expected. But now instead of Dak Prescott throwing the ball to him, trying to keep that connection going, it's going to be Cooper Rush, Trey Lance throwing the ball to Ceedee Lamb for the foreseeable future. Do you have any comments about that, Ceedee Lamb style?
I mean, yeah, so Jerry actually said a few days ago that, Ceedee's dealing with that painful shoulder injury, but he did say there's a good chance that he's going to play this Sunday. So,
good news there, yeah.
And like I said, that was even a few days ago that was even brought up. Ceedee Lamb himself said, my shoulder's much better than it was on Sunday, I'll tell you that. I feel like I've taken a big step these last 2-3 days. I'm good. I was out there running today. He did say that the injury is more about just dealing with the pain, that his range of motion is fully there, but that he has no plans of wearing any kind of protective brace or anything.
So no brace. He's going out there just going for it.
Raw dogging it, so to speak. So, again, just wanted to throw that out there. That was pretty much it, specifically about the Ceedee Lamb shoulder injury.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure. Now, Jerry Jones actually spoke about, Ceedee Lamb's injury. How serious is it? Do we need another receiver to save the day? Brandon Cook's still out, but he's going to be back. I think after one more, Philly game, he could come back for the Philly game, I think. We have Tolbert. So do we need another receiver because Ceedee Lamb's injured? I mean, it sounds like he's going to play. So that shouldn't be an issue. Well, guess what, guys? As you said earlier, I'm going to remind everybody what you said. What did Jerry Jones say, like in his last interview there on Tuesday? Quote, I have some things in the mill when it comes to regarding the trade deadline. They asked if there's a bold move about Amari Cooper trade in 2018. He said, quote, don't look for those kinds of things, okay? The point is we have a shot, and we think we have a shot to improve our roster. And those are the famous last words. I said, do not expect anything major. The Cowboys decided to say, hey, you know what? Let's trade a 4th-round pick. Okay, for who? A Devontae Adams type, Hopkins. I'm just saying, these are the guys going for 5th rounders, 6th rounders. No. Jerry Jones said, no. Stop the clock. He said, let's trade the Carolina Panthers, one of the worst offenses in the league. Let's trade for a wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers, Jonathan Mingo. So the Cowboys acquired wide receiver Jonathan Mingo and a 2025 7th round pick. Ooh, an undrafted player, basically. We get Mingo and a 7th round pick from the Panthers, and we have to give up our 2025 4th round pick. That's it. We give up a pick, we get a player and a 7th round pick, a receiver. So now I do want to throw in there, I do not want. We should be having like 11 draft picks, so now we're down to 10. But I'm not a fan of trading away a very important fourth rounder this year would have got us a running back. Think about that.
Yeah.
So we just gave away a 4th round pick. As far as compensatory picks, the Cowboys are currently projected to receive 3 5th round compensatory picks in 2025, and a 6th round pick as well. So on top of our whatever, we have seven picks this draft. We just got rid of one of them, but we have 4 more coming in the 3 in the 5th and 1 in the 6th. Still, we lost our 4th round pick.
We sure.
And that to me is we better get a good guy. Well, Jonathan Mingo, he's our pick.
Let's ask the real questions though, because so we spent, right? Because picks are capital here in NFL world. We spent a 4th round pick on this guy. Is that what he's worth? Well, are we paying what he actually is worth?
Let me say this first. Just a quick little comment here. First of all, he is and will be wearing number 81 for the Cowboys. All right, and I did hear, I don't know if it's Stephen Jones said it or Jerry Jones said, they're going to try to get him in a couple of packages, offensive packages, maybe this week against the Eagles. Don't hold your breath. And I don't know if you have his quotes from Jonathan Mingo.
I do, along with some commentary, of course, from Stephen Jones and
but I mean, we'll talk about what it means to him. But let me just give you a quick rundown on him real quick. He's a big, physical, fast receiver. Okay, he's 6'2", 220 pounds, and he runs a 4.4 in the 40.
Okay,
he is better moving than going and like standing still on a route. He's better at constant motion. He's not twitchy, and only 7% of his targets were deep passes. So he's not your take off the top deep passing kind of receiver. He's more of the physical guy getting those harder receiving yards, within 10, let's say under 10 yards or in that 10-yard span. So when you look at his grades, though, he's in the 6th percentile in receiving in zone, not very good. In separation, only in the 36th percentile. In separation and single coverage, 11th percentile. Even with that speed and the physicality, he cannot separate. Yards per reception, he's in the 50. He's basically average. And again, overall, he's a pretty good athlete who can run away from defenders if the offense can manufacture a little bit of separation on the play calls, which is a problem for us. If we can manufacture separation, he'll get a little separation, catch the ball, and then take it the distance. That's where he really accelerates, is from taking it the distance, not creating separation or going deep on his own and making a big catch and no yards after the catch. He's a good yak guy, is what he is. A lot of play action with crossing routes, and deep over routes would be a wise way of maybe getting the most out of him. We'll have to see. Again, because with Mingo, the biggest issue with him, guess what? He's not disciplined. Fits perfectly with this team. He's not disciplined. He's not a nuanced receiver. You need to have those details.
The definition of that desperate girl who's like, I can fix him, because that's basically our entire team. We see these undisciplined guys and we're like, I can fix him, and then we never fucking do.
Listen, it's just not annoying to know that he is not a disciplined route runner, but also he has a very annoying tendency, where his pad level raises as he goes into his breaks, which is predictable to the defensive back covering him. So now we have a guy who's not disciplined in his routes and is predictable in his routes. How many pick sixes is Cooper Rush going to throw when he throws the ball to Jonathan Mingo, number 81? Because they're already jumping routes. It's so predictable with McCarthy's calls. No separation. And now this guy telegraphs what he's going to do. I'm telling you, we gave up a 4th-round pick for this guy.
Not a fan.
Only out of 126 players with at least 75 targets or more in the last 2 years, Jonathan Mingo, out of 126 players, he ranks 126th when it comes to success rate. What do you think? Yeah. 75 targets or more in 2 years. Out of 126 players, he's 126th. He is no success. He's the worst success rate receiver.
Now, of course, he was
with the most
Panthers.
targets. I know, but that's the gap between Mingo at 126 and the next guy is Ramonde Stevenson, a running back who has 100. He's 125th on this list.
Okay,
he's 3 percentage points in front of him.
Maybe that's significant.
Yeah,
that's not nothing.
That is a larger gap between any 2 players back to back on the entire list on the 126 players. The gap between Mingo, which is 32.4%, and the next closest we talk about running back. Let's talk about wide receiver.
Yeah,
is Trey Tucker, 41%, is more than double the gap between the next 2 closest receivers on the list. So he's just not very good in being successful when he runs routes. That goes to the lack of discipline. I know some other players will tell you he's great for this and that. He's physical and he's this and he's fast. But he's not disciplined. He telegraphs routes, doesn't create separation. And then that all equals not really very successful. In fact, the least successful receiver in 2 years in the NFL. Now, yes, baby, you're right. The Panthers have the 3rd least productive offense in the NFL.
Ouch.
He was the 4th wide receiver in the Panther offense. We just traded a 4th-round pick for a 4th receiver, which now I've heard people compare him to, let's say, Tolbert. So we traded a 4th-round pick for a 4th receiver. Like, that draft pick could have been used for something better. Let's be honest. Jerry Jones views Jonathan Mingo as a 4th receiver on the Panthers, worthy of a 4th-round pick. That, to me, it makes me want to jump out a window when I hear this shit, guys. The Cowboys don't want to consider maybe not making any more motherfucking wide receiver trades because the Cowboys are not good at it.
Clearly.
For going for receivers, they have an issue. Another GM from another team, they didn't want to be given his name, told his thoughts on this trade that the Cowboys made for Mingo. And the thoughts were this, quote, talented, a little raw, but the comp is too much, like way too much. Basically, at most, a net 5th. He said he's probably most like Tolbert out of any of the Cowboy receivers there. So we just got another Tolbert, maybe a little worse than Tolbert.
Again, and let's be real, we overpaid for him.
Yep, that's the point. This unannounced GM said that, quote, just my opinion, not a bad player, but to include a 4th is rich, end quote. Cowboys overpaid for a guy who's not going to produce what Jerry Jones's delusional fucking brain thinks. The Cowboys, listen, and here's the thing, baby, listen to this. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys spent more to acquire Jonathan Mingo as they got in exchange for Amari Cooper. Remember, we traded a 1st-round pick for Amari, and we traded a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah.
But we traded Amari away for a 5th-round pick.
That's painful.
Yeah. Now, also, listen to this. DeAndre Hopkins just scored 2 touchdowns for Kansas City.
Yeah.
This last game on Monday night. Who's acquired by the Chiefs for a conditional 5th-round pick. Amari Cooper was acquired from the Browns to the Bills for a 6th-round pick. And I think a third and a seventh round were also given for another player. I forgot who it was given. But the Jets acquired Devontae Adams for a third round pick. He's a 7-time 1,000-yard receiver. The Steelers got a 2-time 1,000-yard receiver in Mike Williams for a 5th round pick. The Ravens got a 1-time 1,000-yard receiver in Deontay Johnson for a 5th round pick. I'm just making a point. These are all guys that are either getting the same or less compensation for guys that are much better than Mingo.
Let's all have a little giggle here. Even Madden wouldn't let you do it because they said it was like too unfair.
Yeah, guys. In Madden, this has been reports. People try to make the same trade. It was not allowed. Madden said it was an unfair trade. For the Cowboys, they were getting ripped off. The Cowboys made the trade in real life. It's so sad right now.
What a surprise.
I don't understand how the hell the Cowboys, even if you like Mingo, no matter how much you like Jonathan Mingo, he's not worth a 4th rounder. Unless he's the biggest surprise in history. He's not worth a 4th rounder in this day and time. And this is bad clown show management right there. Horrible management.
It's hard to see it literally any other way. I said it. Hey, we got Mingo.
Yeah, hit up the chat just real quick. Just a couple quick comments before Mingo's kind of words.
And some shout outs at least. Yeah. Of course, and shout out to Double R, much love as well. And like I just said, Seabass.
AOD in the house.
Himself. Rolando Rodriguez said, MCF, another wasted 4th round pick. Insanity. Yep. The GM is still employed without winning a Super Bowl in 29 years. Only the Cowboys.
And he's 82.
Double R said it. When the Cowboys drafted Deuce, it showed me the GM for the Cowboys is a total disaster for the team. Just fire yourself, Jerry, please. As a fan, just stop.
We've been saying that since day one. Since day one here on this channel, we've been saying that, but we've been saying that before this channel.
Now, Anthony Robertson said, Mingo, we welcome you. Show us something.
Yeah, but you know what sucks? Mingo was brought in here, right? Mm-hmm. And you figure, okay, he's going to help the offense. As we lose Dak Prescott for probably most of the year, not the whole year. It's like it hurts even. It's like an extra fuck you to the team and from Jerry Jones to Dak.
It feels a little bit ironic, but at the same time, for those of you who are trying to be optimistic, maybe that shows hope that the Cowboys feel like Dak will be back after 4 weeks because they got not just Cooper Rush some quote unquote help, but they got Dak some help, and now they have some future possible help. I mean.
I hope so.
Look, I'm trying to see what they are clearly seeing and trying to plan for.
That's what we got. That's why you have to look at this front office. You cannot look at it with common sense. You got to look at it with retardation of Jerry Jones.
So, and we hear straight from them, right? Stephen Jones said it. As far as the trade for him, he said, we're still trying to see if we can get some packages for him for this Sunday's game.
So, again, they're trying to get him. They're trying to get him in the game this Sunday, but again, like I said, don't hold your breath.
I know, but he followed that up immediately by saying he's a guy that can help us this year as well, but certainly the future was a big part of our decision to go get him.
So getting him was for the future as a rookie contract.
For right now.
He's cheap. Yeah.
So the Cowboys
Trey Lance-ish at receiver.
As a multiple thing.
Yeah, well, overpaid for Trey Lance, overpaid for Mingo.
Exactly. So, and Jonathan Mingo himself said, this is a fresh start for me. I'm glad they took a chance on me so I can show them what I can do. Somebody finally believed in me, so I can show them what I can do, and I'm just happy to be here. And, of course...
I mean, the Cowboys were actually looking forward to... I know he was one of the guys that they liked in the draft. I remember we talked a lot about him. But, yeah, he also, wasn't very good in Carolina with that shitty offense.
And he was kind of asked, why didn't things work out for you over in Pantherlandia? He said, I don't know. You can talk to them. It ain't up to me. It's between the front office and coaching staff. I know there's some things I could have done better, but I'm here now.
Yeah, so he's kind of saying his way of saying he didn't get an opportunity.
Not just that, but shitty coaches, shitty schemes led to him having a shitty output. I don't know why he thinks things are going to be better in Dallas, but I guess, he technically does stand a chance of getting more playtime and more action here, especially with our current environment. So you know what? He might actually look better than he did with the Panthers. That doesn't mean he'd be good. He's going to look better than you did with the Panthers, very likely.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it from the Mingo
the Mingo situation. Is that all he said? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to kind of finish up on my side of things, I mean, this move we got a guy on a team. What do? We had to make room for him, right? Well, the Cowboys released 2 players today. I don't know if you knew this. The Cowboys released 2 players to make room. Well, not really to make room, but basically the Cowboys released cornerback Andrew Booth Jr., who, again, we acquired through a trade from Minnesota. We traded for Andrew Booth.
Yeah.
he looked good in preseason a little bit. Was kind of the guy throwing in the mix when we needed the backup to come up big, and he was horrible.
He has some faith in what our trades might look like.
He was horrible. Fourth again, he was traded for like a 7th round or something. Not a big deal, but still, we just cut somebody we traded for, and gave away a pick. He played in 3 games and had a total of 6 tackles. That's not pretty good, right? That's horrible. And then, so that's how we made room for Mingo. Then the Cowboys said, let's cut somebody else. And they cut Jordan Phillips, defensive tackle, who went on the IR with the wrist after 1 or 2 weeks. He was mad. Remember, he was with Jonathan Phillips. Jordan Phillips. You remember how we got him? We traded the New York Giants in August. And then he was placed on IR 2 weeks into the season. Despite saying his wrist was not hurt, the Cowboys forced him on there. Now he's gone from Dallas. He was not happy to put on injured reserve. He had an issue. He spoke out about that. And he's been practicing the last 2 weeks for the Cowboys, getting ready to get back off that 21-day window, right? And then all of a sudden the Cowboys cut him. Immediately on social media, once he cleared waivers, he's going back to the Buffalo Bills, his original team. He went from the Bills to the Giants to the Cowboys, back to the Bills now, where he played last year. This year he was with the Giants. He was the 3rd-string nose tackle. We traded for him. Now he's gone. Yeah. And now he's back with the Bills, where he was last year. So because he was on the roster for at least 2 games, the Giants will receive the Cowboys' 6th-round pick in 2026. So in 2026, not 25, 2026, we lose our 6th-rounder. But the Cowboys also get the Giants' 7th-round pick next year in 2026. So, or 2 years from now.
Yeah.
So we just basically flip 6th-rounder for 7th-rounder because he played in 2 games. If he was not in those games, we wouldn't have to give anything up. But, and the big thing I want to say about both these, you realize there's something in common with both these guys outside of they play defense? Do you know what else we did with these guys? Both these 2 guys were 2 of our trade acquisitions. We traded for these guys, gave up draft capital, and cut them after week 9. That's a fail. Another fail from the clown show. And again, just so you guys remember, Jordan Phillips, even though he was released, he was still on injured reserve. He was not on the 53, so that didn't open up any spots for us. That was just like a fuck you.
That was cleaning up house.
Well, yeah, that was like, to me, that was like the Cowboys saying, fuck you, Jordan Phillips, for not liking to be put on IR with your wrist.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep you on here. We're going to use you for a couple other weeks. You're going to cost us you're going to cost us a 6th-round pick. We're going to use you for a couple weeks in practice and then cut your ass. I don't know. It's the way the Joneses work. I'm not a big fan of it, but that's the way they do it.
Hey, that is very Jones-like.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of get into the today in the injury stuff coming out of this entire week of practice so far. I don't know if you have anything else to speak on when it comes to I think it's mainly players about this upcoming game.
Well, actually, we do have a handful of comments, just 1 or 2 real quick, as far as like our quarterback situation. And since we talked about everything Dak related, I figured this is a good time to touch on that. Because Jerry did say this as far as us going with Cooper Rush over Trey Lance. He said, let's not dismiss the possibility of doing anything. The going with has a past tense aspect to it I wouldn't recognize. It's not impossible to incorporate some of the skills we might get from both quarterbacks. And as far as Trey Lance specifically, Jerry said there are things we can do with him that I think can add punch to the offense.
So he's using both quarterbacks, which is something I was hoping.
I know. I mean, hey, it sounds like, if you want to take Jerry at his word,
you don't want to do that.
The plan moving forward is possibly to use Cooper Rush and Trey Lance to some capacity.
Yeah, in a game you might see.
Yeah, not just Cooper Rush as a starter, Trey Lance as a backup. Now, I do have to admit there's a little extra element of risk there just because if one of those 2 guys gets hurt somewhere in that back and forth scenario, that puts us in another precarious situation. So, maybe we pick up an extra quarterback onto the practice squad. Keep that in mind. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's not a move we make in the next week or 2. But I would love to see both quarterbacks. So this is actually one of the few things that Jerry said that actually, I'm like, okay, at least there's that. And
you know
even
what?
Trey Lance.
You know why he say that is because he wants to make sure that he, kind of shows a great move he made out there and hoping he shows
exactly.
Move,
even
right?
Trey Lance himself said, I'd love the opportunity to get on the field in any way I can if that's what coach thinks it's best. I feel like I'm in a really good spot now. He does feel confident in his ability to run the offense. He said absolutely. He said his confidence level is as high as it can get. So honestly, it sounds like maybe the last few weeks of, some practice maybe have done him good. Hopefully we do see a slightly more improved Cooper Rush than we did in the practice.
Yeah, that's that makes me worried though, because
practice season.
In the preseason games. But the thing is that to me, if in preseason he was that bad, he ain't better in the last couple of weeks because he had some nice practices. It's gonna be
trial by fire, right? It sounds like he's gonna get some real NFL experience with the Cowboys at least. So
yeah, a little bit. The Niners didn't do good. He had some in preseason looked horrible, and then. Now he's gonna, he may be seeing very soon with Cooper Rush. He may be seeing some real NFL regular season games.
And Double R, huge shout out to you, much love. Let me take a quick second here as you head on out to remind everyone to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can follow us anywhere and everywhere on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop into our Discord. The link's down below. And
I reset the goal because I just realized I hit the end and not the end of the show. So we throw up 5 more. Why not? 5 fives or higher, and reach the goal. But we don't have much time, though. Stream's almost over. Now let's get on to the Path of the Eagle game. That's our next game. We're done with this. In fact, let me take this shit off. I'm going to take it off the screen. When it comes to the score, I hate it. I don't want to see it anymore. So I'm going to proceed to dismantle it here.
And AOD, again, like I said, I feel like McCarthy is going to be able to get away with continuing to be our coach because between the injuries and Jerry's continued comments that he believes in McCarthy, I don't think he's going anywhere until the end of the season. It sucks.
Well, either way, no matter how you see it or slice it up, McCarthy has lost the players. That's already known. It's a matter of when the axe, hits the neck of McCarthy's, his chubby neck. So this game, first of all, let me just say about this season. The Cowboys over-under win total, do you remember what it opened up as? It opened up at 12.5 wins. So that's 10 or 11 wins. I'll get to that in a minute. Double R dropping that $2.
Ooh,
that $2 holler.
Double R.
That J. Lou $2 holler. Much love to Double R. What did the man say?
Salute MCF and Cowboy Nation. Go Cowboys for life.
Hell yeah.
Bringing Mr. Jetly 44 down to 19 points there on the stream, boss. Thank you, Double R, with your $2 holler.
Yeah.
On your way out. Always appreciate it.
So definitely big shout outs to you, Double R.
And hey, no matter what, always go Cowboys.
Always, even when it's at the worst, which this is where the true fans come out, guys.
Oh, yeah.
This is the worst. This is officially the worst it can really get right now.
Yeah, again,
I don't see it can be worse than this.
It's easy to be a fan when the getting is good. But man, it is tough to be a fan during these tough times.
These tough moments. So,
what's up, Godless?
Godless in the house.
Have fun.
Hey, I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. I'll get the political talk over there, and after dark, little later at night, like 4 a.m. kind of time. So you know when to look out for me there. But anyways, I got to turn the page now. Fuck the Falcons. That game's over.
Time to fuck Philly.
Fuck Philly. Always fuck Philly. Drop your emojis if you got them, guys. I mean, you know how this goes. And I'm dropping the shit eater, the fuck Philly, the e-gal, the e-girls, the freaking roasted Philadelphia Eagle fucking bitch. I don't know, whatever. Just fuck Philly. Fuck Philly.
I know, I dropped all of
them. Fuck Philly. Fuck Philly. Fuck it all. So I don't know, I double them up, triple them up. I love seeing anything that says fuck Philly or fuck the Eagles. Now, just so you know, this season, the win total for us, it was supposed to fall somewhere between 10 or 11 wins.
Clearly, that's not happening.
The over-under is 10.5. That's what we opened the season at. Right now, our over-under is 7.5 wins. That means we're looking at 7 or 8 wins at most for this season.
Do you think that almost feels generous at this point?
Yeah,
just because it's hard to picture what the next few weeks are going to look like.
Oh, yeah. If you look at this, if we beat the Panthers, the Giants, who else? That's 5 wins. I don't know how we even get to 7 or 8. Let's be honest.
Me either.
I guess Dak comes back maybe for the Giants game, and a miracle happens and we run the table. I mean, I guess you can. I don't know. Look, it's almost impossible. That's my point. So they're putting us at 7.5 wins right now, And we dropped 3 wins so far, just
Right.
halfway through the season. In the odds of Vegas, which does sometimes correlate. Now, what was today's final kind of updates before tomorrow's final injury report? We kind of know what's going to happen. We can tell you right now, guys. But the Cowboys, as we said, just a little recap here. McCarthy kind of said these things at this press conference. They're waiting. The Cowboys are waiting for more opinions on Dak Prescott's hamstring, and we know more of that fact that it's Dak looking for these answers. Sounds like Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and McCarthy, they're all ready to put Dak on IR because they know that's what the situation has to be. Dak's looking for a reason or second, third opinion to maybe save him from doing that. But surgery, tendon torn off the bone, hamstring tendon. I mean, he's going to be out for at least 4 or 5 weeks. That means injured reserve for him. Zeke having a good week, guys, according to McCarthy. Zeke started again. He was on the practice courts today, as he usually does, to get warmed up as he's a little older. He rejoined the team after being disciplined last week for tardiness, and then got mad. Remember, he was late for meetings. He was made inactive, and then not allowed to travel with the team for discipline. So again, Zeke is kind of back on track. It seems good for him, I guess. McCarthy said that Ceedee Lamb with that shoulder did more than anticipated in yesterday's practice, and today he did a lot more as well.
It sounds like great
really good
news. If you go back to Ceedee's comments, sounds like he's dealing with pain pretty well.
So Ceedee Lamb's going to do this without even a shoulder harness or anything. He looks like he's good to go. Micah Parsons also with the ankle. We missed him for what, 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks. He's going to do more work today in practice. Is what the practice it looked like, and every day he's been getting more and more work. So that's a good sign there. By the way, as far as Ceedee Lamb, he went through a second straight practice despite the shoulder sprain, the AC joint. So
impressive.
Like you said, he said he's not going to wear that brace on Sunday. He's feeling good. It sounds like he's a good, he's good to go for this game. And then number 81, the newest player in our team that we just traded for, we just talked about him, Jonathan Mingo. He's arrived at Frisco, and he was wearing his number 81. He took part today in his first practice as a Cowboy this afternoon. So he's trying to get a couple. Again, they said they're trying to get a couple plays for him for this week against the Eagles. We'll see if that's even possible. Now, going to the rest of the practice and other injuries, DaRon Bland, guys, not good. DaRon Bland, let me throw him up on the screen here because to me this is one of the bigger losses that we're going to have here. DaRon Bland, once again working with the rehab group, with the director of rehab, Britt Brown, he's experiencing symptoms from the stress fracture in his foot that was surgically repaired.
That's not good. So
again, it was a little. Again, he was expected back a couple weeks ago. He had a regression, and now he's still not going the right. That's a huge issue. And,
that's a huge setback, honestly.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Think about all the problems we're having with Trayvon Diggs. Like if he had at least Bland out there, I think he'd get a little help. But he's kind of got to do it. It's exposing Trayvon Diggs, not having Gilmore. But again, Gilmore was never really with Trayvon Diggs last year, and so my point is that DaRon Bland was the guy helping Trayvon Diggs hopefully this year, and he's gone the whole year so far.
Was the the guy who really came out and showed out,
and he helped the whole year. So now. What I'm trying to say is that
we lost one of those huge elements that we were kind of counting on getting back, especially around this time is when he was expected to really be back fully. Yeah.
So when you look at the practice notes from today, guys, the main people we want to look at, let's start with Ceedee Lamb. If I can find them here. Yeah, there he is. Ceedee Lamb, guys, the shoulder issue. He was limited the last 2 days in practice. Okay, so that's great news in the sense that he's going to. They're just keeping him comfortable right now. So Ceedee Lamb, he looks good to go. Then we got Micah Parsons here, also limited in practice. Where is he? There he is. Micah Parsons limited in practice, but more again, the ankle, 2 days in a row limited in practice, which is good news for Micah Parsons there, as the expectation is he will play. So limited both days, guys. The probability is tomorrow that both him and Ceedee Lamb, I predict both Micah Parsons and Ceedee Lamb will have at least limited, but maybe even full practices tomorrow. If one of them are listed as questionable, it's like probable questionable in that sense. they will both probably play this game, even if they have some kind of game designation or some kind of questionable thing. So again, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, limited in practice back-to-back days, but expected to play, both of them expected to play on Sunday against the Eagles. Kalen Carson, the rookie, number 21, shoulder issue, full practice back-to-back days. So he's good to go for this game. Linval Joseph, kind of the guy who outlasted Jordan Phillips, I guess you can say. Linval Joseph had a back issue, full practice. In back-to-back days. So he's good to go. I don't see any setbacks with him. And other limited guys outside of CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. Great news for Eric Kendricks. He did not practice yesterday, but today he was limited. So that's an upgrade. He's going to play on Sunday for him. We need him in there. Tyler Guyton, the rookie left tackle, neck and shoulder issue. Limited back-to-back days. He's going to be good to go for this game. And Trayvon Diggs with the calf issue, which he had last week, a little minor tear.
Yeah.
He played. Not very good, but he played. He was limited in back-to-back games. Back-to-back practice days. So he's good to go. Unless any guys have setbacks, Trayvon Diggs, Tyler Guyton, Eric Kendricks, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, they're all good to go. Look for that tomorrow.
Definitely some positives here. We can't ignore that.
For sure. So we're looking at that. That's what we're looking at. That's what it looks like right now. But then we had some did not practices. And when it comes to those that did not practice, well, we can all say that we know that Dak did not practice. He's about to be put on IR, basically. So we know he didn't practice.
Yeah.
And as I said already, we saw him on the sidelines all week practicing basically on the rehab cords. That was Deron Bland. Deron Bland also did not practice today. Couple other guys, and this is a guy I'm going to talk about a little later, but Wanye Thomas, he did not practice back-to-back. He had a concussion, but I'm hearing that he's kind of on his way back, so he should get a good chance to be out of concussion protocol and be able to play in this game. But again, no Wanye Thomas with the issues with Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. You may want to see a little more Wanye Thomas. Not this week because of that concussion. He might not be able to play this week, but he did not practice. Another guy did not practice, Nick Vigil, who ever since we brought him onto the 53 has been freaking injured and missing every game at linebacker with that foot issue. Another 2 days back-to-back to not participate in practice. So those are not good situations there. But the last guy I want to mention may be a biggest surprise, and that is Zach Martin. Back-to-back days, no practice. Remember, he got hurt in his shoulder in that game.
I'm guessing that maybe the Cowboys feel like this is part of why he performed so badly, so they're giving him some good old-fashioned rest and relaxation.
They're not, they usually say rest saying no injury, but no, they're listing an injury in his shoulder, and they are probably just extra resting this week, but no real comments about him not practicing. So it sounds like exactly. It sounds like the Cowboys are gonna just gear him up for just a resting week, basically, and get him ready for the game. So if you look at that, really the only guys that are not going to play, Dak Prescott, which we knew, Deron Bland, which is too bad, that's sad, Nick Vigil, he's going to probably be out this game, just more of a depth guy at this point, doesn't really matter, and Wanye Thomas, got to keep an eye on the concussion. Outside of that, I expect everybody else to play for our game. But again, any setbacks, we'll know tomorrow, maybe even Saturday. We'll be live again on Saturday to pick up any of the final pieces and see who's elevated. Another Dalvin Cook elevation this week? Maybe, but what about all the these injuries? Depends. You're gonna go linebacker, you're gonna go safety, are you gonna go, maybe corner again? I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of different options out there for the Cowboys on their practice squad to elevate a couple of players. But I do believe Dalvin Cook will be at least one of those guys, and then the Cowboys have to find a spot for him because if they do elevate Dalvin Cook on Saturday, that'll be his last elevation. It'll be 3 in a row, and he's had like 5 carries total. I mean that's not that much. So when you look at all these injuries, I want to say one thing. The Cowboys always bullshit us like with the over optimistic comments about our injured guys. We heard 6 to 8 weeks on Deron Bland. He had a setback. Well, right now we're going on 12 weeks. He missed the first 4 basically before the season started.
A little bit different than what was initially expected.
Yeah, he had 1 week of practice and then he got hurt in training camp. So we've lost them for 3 weeks in training camp, and now 9 weeks here. Or 10 weeks. Now that's literally going to be 12. That's 3 months we lost to Ron Bland for. But they said 6 to 8 weeks. That's all they said. Micah Parsons, remember what they said about him? 2 to 4 weeks. We are going on missing weeks, at least 5 weeks missed, going on week 6, which he should play. And of course, we just heard multiple weeks for Dak Prescott, which when you hear the bone torn off the tendon torn off the bone, we're hearing 4+ weeks. We're talking maybe even an IR or longer. Multiple weeks means multiple months with the Cowboys.
I agree.
Now, I do want to reiterate, when you look at these injury reports, and Micah Parsons specifically, with the ankle, and he missed 6 weeks already, he is expected to be back in this game against the Eagles, so at least we get Micah back. And speaking of the Eagles, baby, and I don't know if you have some guys that spoke. I think did you already do all your quotes? I think for today. I'm not sure.
We did have Micah speak, but he, kind of touched on one or two things. The biggest thing is the fact that he's healthy and he's going to play. Mm-hmm. And
he was on his podcast, wasn't he?
He said earlier this week that we still have a chance. That's what he said on his podcast basically earlier this week. We still have a chance. Don't count us out. As long as I'm still alive, as long as I'm still a part of this team, I'm going to keep fighting.
Any comments about Jerry, though? I thought there was something about Jerry Jones he had made a comment about. Yeah,
there is. He basically, again, just kind of reiterated, we still can make a run. But as far as the Jerry side, he said this before, but apparently Jerry picked him up on the side of the road before the Super Bowl in Vegas. He said, I was outside the Wynn Hotel. Jerry walks out and he goes, Micah, what are you doing? You going to the game? And Micah's like, nah. Jerry's like, oh, do you want to go? And Micah's like, yeah. So he brought me to the game. I was like, cool. And we had a chance.
That's right. I remember seeing them. They were sitting there together at the game. I remember.
He said it goes to show you how generous and caring he is. He broke me down about life and football and how he sees the players, how he sees the team, and where he wants to go with us.
I want to talk about like he did with Jamie Foxx about all these guys' dicks.
The fact that he did that with me, it goes to show our relationship is growing and that he trusts me. Parsons said this as far as is it a good thing or a bad thing to have an owner that is so close to the team and the players? He said, I think it's a good thing because honestly, a lot of owners don't care. Jerry cares about how comfortable we are. He cares about this facility. When you walk in the building, it says it's a privilege, not a right, to wear the star. I think when you got an owner like that actually cares and wants to be involved in the process instead of this is a moneymaker, this is about money to me, his heart is in it. And when someone's heart is in it, they think about family. Family doesn't always do the right things or make the right decisions, but you still love them because they care. They actually care about the significance about what they're doing.
I think Mike has become Jerry Jones mindset.
But you know what? The problem is that I get it. Jerry does care. My thing is that it's kind of like family. I love you, but that love doesn't take away the fact that you're, beating the shit out of me.
Right.
I know what to say.
Also, it sounds like your family, but sometimes you're making bad choices out there. It sounds like almost he was hinting towards that. Anyways. Let's finish this up here. When it comes to this upcoming fucking game against the goddamn fucking shitty Eagles, I hate the Eagles. Fuck Philly. Cry Eagles, cry. Fuck Philly. Remember, guys, we always got to remind these Eagle fans basic math. 5 is still always greater than 1. But still, unfortunately, guys, they're doing a lot better than us. They have a much higher ceiling than we do, in my opinion. But fuck Philly. I hope if we gotta lose every game, let's beat Philly at least once. Let's at least get one here. Now, the Cowboys opened up this game as a home 2.5 home underdog against the Eagles. Mm-hmm. And again, this is even from a couple days ago. The Cowboys went from 2.5 underdog to a 6.5. We went from a field goal underdog to a touchdown underdog in a couple of days. And really not even a couple of days, and literally hours after Dak Prescott. So, again, to me, this is just showing you how little belief in general Jerry Jones' team has right now by the public, by the betting odds, by the people betting on the. Nobody has any confidence in the Cowboys. And right now, it's going to be over 7 points. Yeah. The Eagles are going to be favored to try to beat the Cowboys here in our home. Now, they do have some injuries, so really quickly, when you look at their list, there was a bunch of guys on this list, but then, on Wednesday, but they were all limited or full Dallas Goedert, full practice both days. And everybody else was limited, and a couple did not practice. All these limited guys were getting rest. There weren't even real injuries for most of them. And most of these guys were upgraded to full practice today. Saquon Barkley, full practice today, upgrade. Mekhi Becton, guard, starting guard. Ankle injury, but limited yesterday, full today, upgraded. A.J. Brown, wide receiver, upgraded to full. You have Bryce Huff, edge rusher, upgraded to full. Jalen Hurts was limited, upgraded to full. Cam Jurgens, their center, with the wrists, upgraded to full. Aeneas Smith there, receiver with an ankle issue, upgraded to full. Josh Sweat, Jermaine Trotter, also with hip injuries, upgraded to full today. So all these guys are playing, including Dallas Goedert. Now you got some guys that were limited and stayed limited, like Fred Johnson, the tackle, with a knee issue. He was limited all week so far. He's probably going to play if they need him. I think he's a backup. And then you had some did not practice guys on Wednesday, but they all were upgraded to full. To limited today. So you had Nolan Smith, outside linebacker with a groin, didn't practice yesterday, upgraded to limited today. Ben Van Sumeren, linebacker with a concussion, did not practice yesterday like Wanya Thomas, but today, Wanya Thomas still in concussion protocol, did not practice. Ben Van Sumeren did practice. He was limited in practice today. And the other guy who was upgraded to limited, Devontae Smith, the other receiver, guys. He was as it did not practice yesterday with a hamstring issue, upgraded to limited. So in all reality, guys, I mean, outside of a backup tackle, there's really no fear of really losing anybody here for this game against the Cowboys. So everybody who's on there at 53 is going to probably play. And that's an apple. That's the flip side of the coin, so to speak, when it comes to our situation and the Eagles situation. The big names, really. A.J. Brown upgraded to full practice. A.J. Brown had a knee issue. And Devontae Smith was upgraded to limited, which, again, is trending to the right direction for him to play. So, this Week 10 game against the Eagles, what are a couple of quick glances at this? This is what's next is the Eagles. And division rival. Again, for the Cowboys, nothing really to play for, in my opinion, after last week's loss and losing Dak for this basically multiple months, in my opinion. So each and every game right now, to me, in my opinion, should be utilized as a tool to help further evaluate the roster and get a better understanding of what our offseason needs are going to be for 2025. That's me, I know. Sounds horrible, but that's the truth. So with that in mind, I wanted to kind of put a couple matchups I would like to kind of see this week. And this is just a preview, a quick preview. We'll get the real preview tomorrow. I'm sorry, not tomorrow, but Saturday. But Trey Lance versus the Eagles defense. Now, we know Cooper Rush is starting. But we may still see a little Trey Lance in the mix there sometimes. So I would love to see him versus a tough defense in the Eagles. There's no reason why, in my opinion, the Cowboys should not give Trey Lance at least a chance to have some snaps in this game and prove that he's a capable, at least a capable backup. But maybe, hey, can he be a starter to another team? We can use him as trade bait. Maybe he can start he could give us more than Cooper Rush can in an RPO kind of offense. I don't know, but the point is Trey Lance has been horrible, but he has shown flashes of what he can do with his arm in the right situation and his legs running the ball. Yeah. So, again, never can find consistency, which you have to be an everyday starter in the NFL. But this could be an early audition to see who, if he could be like a backup quarterback for the Cowboys next year. If the Cowboys want to let Cooper Rush go, or should the Cowboys just look somewhere elsewhere next year or draft a quarterback and say forget about Trey Lance, forget about Cooper Rush. So, but to me, it's more about Trey Lance and his value against the Eagle defense. If he has a couple of good games, it's too late to trade him. But maybe in the offseason, now you got trade availability here somewhere you can maybe utilize him. Now, I also want to see, what about if we don't have Tyler Guyton playing this game, if they get him out, whatever, what about seeing a little more Austin Richards? We haven't seen much from him. He's a fourth rounder, I think, fourth-round pick, against the Eagles' defensive pass rush. Whether it's Tyler Guyton, who had to leave the game last week, or some kind of like an underwhelming performance by Terrence Steele when the game's over already. Because now it's not about we have to protect the quarterback and not Dak. We don't have to have our best offense. If the game is 30-3 in the fourth quarter, we can put in some of these other guys, and that's why I want to see what Awesome Richards can do against. I'd rather see him in earlier against a good Eagles defense. So if he can hit the field against the Eagles this week, it'd be a good kind of experiment. We need to figure out about our offensive tackle depth. We don't even know what we got here going into next year for the future. And it starts with Awesome Richards. Again, Steele could be a salary cap casualty at tackle. So Awesome Richards can play tackle. Can he handle that? The rigors? Is he worth replacing Terrence Steele with? And that's an option you can take into, not just for this game, but for the whole season, maybe utilizing more Awesome Richards on that field. So maybe he could be a future right tackle for the Cowboys. I don't know. Maybe he's better as a swing tackle. But we got to give him a chance out there. Understanding where he fits into the future could eliminate an offseason of need for us, possibly.
I agree.
The last thing I wanted to say as far as like things I'd like to see is I would like to see Wanya Thomas come out of concussion protocol.
Yeah.
And then him and Marquise Bell, we said this literally last week, replacing Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. At least getting more snaps at safety. These guys are bigger. They're better at tackling. Remember, a lot of missed tackles come from those two guys at safety.
Yep.
These guys are better tackling, better hitters. Wanya Thomas and Marquise Bell. Wilson and Hooker have drastically underperformed this year. Huge missed tackle numbers for them and could easily end up being salary cap casualties after the season. That means that the Cowboys have to find a safety. Are we going to freak out and start drafting guys? No, do we have guys here already? We got 5 safeties in total here, right? So right now, get them on that field. We can draft, but to me, or free agency, but listen, we have Wanya Thomas and Marquise Bell. To me, I want to see them in a more prominent role this week against the Eagles. Now, if Wanya Thomas is out, of course you can't. But Marquise Bell, number 14, let's see him out there helping the run stop as a safety coming up in the box and helping the linebackers and stop the run. Because they're going to run, and they got Saquon. And he's looking stronger every game. He did a backwards freaking hurdle last game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's see more Marquise Bell at least. And when Wanya Thomas out of concussion, whether it's this week or next, more Wanya Thomas. The last thing I want to end this with is the last thing is Saquon Barkley and the run game for the Eagles. Barkley is averaging 116 rushing yards per game this year. He's averaging way over 100 yards a game. So he is deadly.
Leaping over guys.
And that was and I think that was off a catch. So he's also deadly in the air too. So he's going to kick our ass all over the field. And this is what Mike McCarthy said on the Cowboys facing the Eagles running back Saquon Barkley this Sunday. Quote, Saquon is playing the best I've probably ever seen him play. He's been dynamic. I think he wins player of the week like every week it seems. So again, guys, there's no joke there. Saquon Barkley went from the Giants, stayed in the NFC East, the Eagles, and is playing his best football in a while. They're averaging 116 yards per game this season. So we got to stop that run. I hope that's why I want to see more Marquise Bell. I think he's fast enough, and him and Overshown can really attack Saquon Barkley, in this game. And if Wanya Thomas, let's throw him in there too. If Wanya Thomas clears concussion, and let's give a little less snaps to Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Can I ask for little things like that? That's all I'm asking for. Anyways, 2 hours. Got everything cut up for basically 4 straight days here. Whether it's trades, injuries.
Quite the situation going on.
Yeah.
Some hope with some of these players coming back. Some tragedy with some of the things that we know we're going to be missing these next few weeks.
Yeah.
And some what the heck even comes next. So let's see what's going on with our final, kind of injury update and report. We will be live Saturday night here, guys, before our game, of course.
And that'll be a lot. And that would definitely be
predictions and all those things.
And we'll give you of course, the rundown on the, final injury report, which we'll know, but also the elevated players. Any last second news, I will say this for sure. And probably do our raffle for October, for the jersey raffle. But we'll definitely say this. It's going to be a lot quicker than this stream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, unless we got a lot of other stuff going on. But
it's pretty much going to be recapping with some of the things we touched on here.
Some of it, but it's going to be a lot more deeper into like keys to victory or keys to like we just showed you like what we want to see against the Eagles. We may show a little bit more what we want to see in the sense of seeing these other guys come up and play rather than the usual veterans that could just get hurt. because they're missing half. We're missing half the team on both sides of the ball. So, anyways, on that side of things, big shout out to the people that dropped the love tonight, or in the memberships, however it is. Jet Li 44 in the membership, Lincoln Kane in the membership. By the way, both guys tied currently for first place on the overall board. Then you got Traveling Fools back in the membership. Calvin Richard in third place right now with the 2 drops tonight. Double R on the he's on that board in 5th place currently. So big shout outs to everybody on the board, and also huge shout out to the sponsor of the week, the membership gifting champion. And you can see him right there as our stream boss with 19 points. Big shout outs to the man, Jet Li 44. Much love to you, right, brother. Big shout out to him. He's got 3 out of the 4 parts of this board. And then the king of the Cash App, it is Cav 52. So much love to you, 52, in the house. Outside of that, guys, as far as leaders are concerned, nobody in the Cash App right now. We'll see if Saturday someone jumps in there, because Sunday after this game, we'll crown a champion. So that's nobody in the Cash App. No one gifted memberships. And like I said, in first place right now, Jet Li in a tie.
That's right.
With Lincoln Kane, first place there on the overall board. Try to take over. The sponsor of the week, Jet Li. The gifting champ, Jet Li. Stream boss, Jet Li. And Cash App King, Cav 52. Thank you guys in the house, in the chat. Last shout outs, maybe real quick.
Of course.
And then we're out.
Thank you very much to AOD, Ignacio Suarez, Mr. C. Bass, Godless Manitoban, Double R, Aztec Aguilar 04, Rolando Rodriguez. We had Anthony Robertson in the house. I'm back a little bit more here. Let me see. Brandon J, of course. Calvin Richard. Much love to the man who dropped the love tonight. Dustin Roberts, hello and hi. Larry J. James Herr. Meatball Ron.
Meatball Ron.
All of you guys, again, thank you so much for chilling here, hanging here with us. Make sure to hit like, sub it up, hit the bell, follow us everywhere. But
I want to say one thing. We will have a short one tonight. A shorter one tonight, it looks like, over on MCF After Dark 2. But yes, baby, I want you to answer this question. No matter how bad it gets for us Cowboy fans, why do we do this here? No matter how bad it gets, why do we do this here at My Cowboys Family?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Yeah. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. Here on this channel, we always rep that star over everything. And, of course, here on My Cowboys Family for 8 seasons, in the 8th season, 7.5 years on YouTube. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, never forget it, no matter what. Never forget this. Go Cowboys! Someday, let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you guys for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. Thank you guys for dropping the love from above. Those that did, helping out the channel. As we rock on out of here and clock on out of here, and relock and reload for all the rest of the info. Injuries, elevations, and all the little other things falling through the cracks here before the preview stream on Saturday night. Before we do all that, maybe before we can drop out of here for the night, tell everybody what we got to do.
We got to drop the beat.
And it's official. That beat's been dropped here on My Cowboys Family. Thank you. Guys could be anywhere. We had like 29, 30 people tonight, guys. Thank you for chilling, listening to some Cowboy news info and updates right here for another Cowboys chat on MCF, guys, on My Cowboys Family. And yes, question mark for Micah, but it looks good. Got Mingo in the house, overpaid by Jerry Jones. Ceedee hurt, but gonna play. He's good against the Eagles. McCarthy's like, calm down. This could be the end of my reign here in 5 years. Yeah, I got 5 on it. And then number 4, he's out for at least 4, 5, 10 weeks. I don't know, a long time. On that note, we got to take on the Eagles on Sunday. It's on. Fuck Philly. You know what we do here. But also, you know what we do here in MCF. It's about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything. Never, ever forget the number one thing right here in My Cowboys Family. Thank you guys for rocking out with us here on the Nightly. Can't do this without your love and support. So thank you guys for hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell, jumping in the Discord, following us on social media at My Cowboys Family. That includes Twitter, X, whatever it's called, and Anybody watching the replay, hit the like, but also comment down below. Thank you all for joining us for another one. Stay safe. We'll see you Saturday night. Have a good rest of your couple of next days. And we'll see you back here for the Week 10 preview. Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Fuck Philly, and never forget, Go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.